this country if they're born on this soil, if their families are, immigrants or not legal binding citizens of this country. I just think if you look at like the worst case situations where, like, let's say you have one or two family members who are here illegally, or they've been here, or they were here legally, and then they broke the law, or they came here with a rap sheet, whatever it might be, had a child here, and then go, oh, I'm going to leave my child, or I somehow have rights to this country because I had a child here. I think it's polluting the water of this country, and I think that it's been a problem for sure. And I think it's honestly, I think what it's doing, it's opening a door for trafficking, and I don't like it.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Erica, because I feel like Erica, I know you're gonna give me some wisdom. Erica, what are your thoughts on this, fam?
I'm so sorry. He said open the door to trafficking. Oh, okay. I'm just going to take that as a personal opinion because I know he doesn't have any stats to back that up, no data, nothing to back that up. So we're just going to take that as an unfounded opinion there, a baseless opinion, pretty much. Yeah, sure you do, Liv.
Yeah, you fuck the Unfuck America tour, so you don't have a say. There's my fact.
Okay.
Let's not go there. But let's let Erica finish. Go ahead, Erica.
So, anywho, hi, Smitty. Hey, Shay.
Fam.
All right. So, in regards to birthright citizenship, I think that it should stand as is. It's already been argued in front of the Supreme Court, and the previous courts have found that it does apply to those born within the jurisdiction.
Seriously?
Just say where it is. This attempt right here by the Trump administration is just another example of them being xenophobic, all right, and showing off the nation. And this is just another step forward to them. And my concern is with the Supreme Court that they will, in fact, allow Donald Trump to do this, to strip away citizenship for those born here in the United States to immigrant parents. It's not okay.
When they say shat happens, it literally happens in my pants, Marsha, after I do a shart.
This is Roberts and the woman, Bryant, Comey Bryant, then Cameron Barrett, thank you. Then they will do the right thing and uphold the sanctity of that. People have to understand that if they take away this for, immigrants, so children born to immigrants, all right, what makes them think that their next case in front of the Supreme Court won't be taken away from Black people, from descendants of slaves? Like, we have to look at chain reactions, cause and effect, how these things can actually play out. And people don't do that, Smitty. They're so closed-minded, so short-sighted. And this, and another thing, and one more thing, Smitty, I'm gonna land my plane right here. Is that there's no positive outcome for this. Also, this person dual on your panel, I don't think you want to have him on your panel, Smitty. He has said some pretty disgusting, outrageous things in regards to young girls.
Is that dual dabs?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he shouldn't be up here.
Well, that's not true.
Smitty, don't let him. Don't let these people pollute your panel.
Yeah, he's talked about child schmecks.
Dude, that's complete lie, man. That's a complete lie.
That is not a complete lie, Liam. You're lucky that you're even here.
Hang on a second. Let me speak.
Okay,
please.
so real quick. Let me come back to what Erica, and kind of reiterate that back to you, Liam, in regards to where does your concern stem from in regards to trafficking and that piece of what your concern is around immigrants and immigration. If you could answer that, and then I want
to. You're talking to me, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think that the vulnerable. I think that if you look, I think that children entering this country, immigrant children, I think there's a high risk without parental guidance. I think there's a high risk of. You can look this up. This is easily searchable, that children are put in. Like the idea of it. If it was perfect, I love it. But due to crime, criminals, people that are not easily vettable coming in this country, it's too expensive. That's why the Trump administration said, hey, we have to seal the border. Because if you look at people standing in line, waiting their turn to become citizens of this great country, it's not fair for them to have this new influx of families coming in this country, and they're putting burden on the courts and immigration officers, and it's just making their pathway to citizenship even longer. And that's what I'm saying. That's what these people don't understand. They're just like,
Okay.
but what they're getting at is, it doesn't matter if they don't commit crimes. It's a misdemeanor. Let them be here. It doesn't make a difference. They're adding to the economy. They're paying taxes. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
It's fish gabbing at this point.
All right, let's do this. Let me go to Black Historian. Before I do, let me take a quick poll. If you are for the Supreme Court hearing this case and you feel like birthright citizenship should be up for review, put a 1 in the comments. If you feel like it's already been settled and you do not like the fact that they made this decision to hear the case, put a 2, and then we're going to go to Black Historian.
It's crazy that they're talking about birthright citizenship when this president wouldn't be here. He's a second generation American. Most of us have been here longer than him. He shouldn't even be president if that's the case, because he can only trace his lineage back to his great grandfather, who only came here because he did what? He wanted to avoid getting drafted, like his grandson didn't want to be drafted into the army here. So don't sit here and talk about birthright citizenship. The only people who are freaking criminals in this country are white men who lead in all the statistics on the FBI data list. So if we're scared of anybody, it's YT men in this country. And you want to talk about Schmex? He talks about Schmex rings like Epstein isn't an issue. Most of the people who are being trafficked in this country are little white children. And let's not forget the ones who they go over and adopt from other countries and then bring them back over here and treat them badly. White people are doing that by adoption.
Okay. No, thank you, Black Historian. Let's do this. OD, what's your opinion on this? I know you were formerly a Trump supporter. You've now changed your mind. But what do you feel on birthright citizenship? Do you still feel this? I don't know how you feel. So let me not lead you with that question. How do you feel about this decision? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say change my mind is the word. I would say that we all witnessed in lifetime our president commit treason against our country, and he's a criminal and he should be in jail. As far as birthright citizenship, that was designed for slaves at the time. So a lot of laws are still in place that were designed for slaves, such as things that are happening where people could go online and take the title of your home and steal your home, because things were made like that back in the day. So YT people could come in and steal Black land. So there are still a lot of laws that are in place that were made to either disenfranchise us or made to keep us in a certain area as Black people. So I feel like that's a deeper conversation, because if we were to change the laws of the country, we have to go to the root of the country, which a lot of those laws were put in place during slavery. So I feel like that's a bigger conversation. So as of now, if you're born here, then you are a U.S. citizen.
Okay. All right. Please request if you agree with Liam and you feel like the Supreme Court should hear this case and overturn birthright citizenship. I do want to have a balanced panel. So if you feel like, hey, I want to get up here and yeah, go ahead. While I'm
But Smitty, that law was also put in place for service people who have children abroad. Their birthright, because their parents is a U.S. citizen, they happen to be stationed in a base out of the country. That's not fair to them, but yet they let this criminal. This criminal.
Let me Dr. Try and finish up, and then you can go.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish and this is the entitlement of YT people feel like they can speak over people of color.
Oh Lord.
Well, I'm not
Yeah,
white
you
tea.
keep doing it.
Oh Lord.
I mean, if we're going
You
back,
keep doing it.
Go
I'm not
ahead,
done
Lee.
talking. I'm
Yeah,
not done.
let's let Black Story
Damn.
finish. Go ahead, Black Story.
And this is and birthright citizenship. It was made for us because YT people kept trying to want to ship us off because they didn't think we belong here. Like they don't think anybody else belong here. They come over here on stolen land and want to take everybody out. They let this criminal president who has felonies try to tell them what to think without even doing the research. I bet you half of them don't even know how many amendments are in the Constitution, how many parts there are to the Constitution, but they want to sit here and quote it. They don't even know. All they done say, oh, he's not white, he don't belong here. They're bigoted in their everyday living and they don't even realize it. And we're telling them that and they'll say, no, we're not. Yes, you are a bigot. Just for saying that. And you don't even realize that your president wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for birthright citizenship.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Black Story. Liam, go ahead. Your response, and I want to go to
yeah,
Michael.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I don't really mind if someone jumps in and speaks over me. That being said, doesn't hurt my feelings. So whatever.
All
But
right,
I
then,
won't.
well, shut the fuck up. Let the next person go.
Hold on.
We shouldn't do that. Come on, Queen. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever. That's cool. I know that it doesn't hurt my feelings. Just let people be who they are, so everyone in the chat knows who they are. Anyway, I just wanted to say, soldiers having their children here and stuff. We already have. Listen, we have a road to citizenship. If you serve this country that's true patriotism. You come to this country and let's say where there's an active war going on and you serve this country, you enlist.
Did you serve, Liam?
I'm in the middle of talking about service members.
Have you ever served, Liam?
I don't mind being cut off, but I'm talking about service members. I would like to kind of not be cut off.
They are rude.
I'm sorry, I thought you said you don't mind being cut off.
They are rude.
So
no, that's fine. I said I don't mind.
Hold on. I mind, y'all, because again, I want one person to speak. Go ahead, Liam, and then we'll go to Michael. Go ahead.
I'm saying, there's been a lot of immigrants who have enlisted and became citizens of this great country. Those are patriots at their finest. Okay, so when you're saying that there's people that come over here and serve abroad and do this and do that, I don't really think you're actually telling the whole truth here. This great country has an absolute road to citizenship if you follow the rules. And there are a lot of immigrants, okay, as of now and as of before who entered this country, who have stake claim in this country, who are amazing entrepreneurs, okay? My grandfather came from Ireland, Roscommon, Ireland, landed on Ellis Island, okay, and he did the process. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen the Statue of Liberty or Ellis Island, if you've ever actually got outside your mom's basement, but I'm telling you what, this is a great country. People have sacrificed and paid the ultimate price to do it right and be patriots in this country. So those people are being slapped in the face when you're saying it's a misdemeanor. Everybody come here. It's no problem. We're all immigrants. The first lady is an immigrant. She should go home. You sound foolish. Play the clip.
Please let me respond. Please, Smitty, can I respond? Please. Can I respond, Smitty?
No.
Okay.
Very quickly.
Let me just address two things.
I got you,
because
Michael. I got
with
you, guys.
Liam, Liam, just so you're aware, I've been a Republican for 20 years. So has my family, right? So, Liam, you are literally a second generation, what we call anchor baby. I don't want to talk to anyone who cannot trace their lineage back to the 1600s or the 1700s, like myself and the Queen at the top. So you're telling people like us who are foundational Americans how we should feel and how we should think. I want to ask you something, though. If you're truly an American, like when your grandfather fled his country to come here, we're not fleeing our country. We're going to fight for it. How can you not stand 10 toes down and admit that our president has committed treason against his own country? Liam, you are not an honest Republican, and you are the problem.
So you asked me a question first.
Yeah. I got you there. But let me let Michael come in. I'll come back to you. Okay, Michael, then Liam, and then I want to go to Erica. Michael, what are your thoughts on the Supreme Court agreeing decided Trump may end birthright citizenship? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the birthright citizenship was there for a reason.
Our Constitution is designed to change with time. So, considering the amount of population we have now, the amount of room we have now, the amount of resources we have now, it's not unconstitutional or un-American or unpatriotic to reconsider the openness of birthright citizenship. And these people that come over here, 9.5 months pregnant, plop out a baby in Laredo and go, bam, I got a baby now that's a U.S. citizen, is preposterous. So if you're both your parents or one of your parents are American citizens, no matter where you're born in the world, you're a citizen. But if you're just here on a birth vacation, I don't think you should be a citizen, in my opinion. And I don't see what these two going, that's crazy. That's impossible. Dude, that's not crazy. It's not impossible to think to change that. And I don't even know why you have a problem with that. It's weird that you can't consider that we changed that amendment. The whole Constitution is made to be amended. So that's my theory. And these two squawkers that are just making noise.
Hold on. Let's not do that.
That are just making noise and talking over.
Let's not do that. Yeah. Let's not do that, Mike. So let's not go personal.
You're insulting people for no reason.
Hold on. Let's not go personal.
Michael, were your grandparents born in America, Michael?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let's go one at a time.
One of them was.
Let's go one at a time.
One of them was.
Let's go. OD.
I'm sorry, Smitty.
Y'all. Let's stay with the order. Okay, I'm gonna change the order up a little bit just because Michael addressed Black historian Erica. I want the conversation to flow. So let me let Erica come in now. Then I want to go to Liam. But let's please stay with the order. Okay, I'm just gonna shrink the panelists. It's gonna be, just one or two people.
My bad, Smitty.
Okay, all right, you good. Go ahead, Erica, and then I'm gonna go to Liam.
I know I'm not a mod, but I do want to say this in regards.
You are now.
Well, thank you, Smitty.
Absolutely.
So here's the thing. I would like for everyone on the panel to respect Smitty's boundaries and also the rules and everyone else on the panel. All right. There is absolutely no need for a name calling on the panel. All right. Also, there's no need for over talking. There additionally is when another person is talking, remain on mute. Smitty literally goes one at a time. We're not going to do all that over talking, that yelling, and none of that in his space. All right. He holds a very respectful panel. Okay. We understand that things may get heated, but at the same time, respect his boundaries. Please. That's all I'm asking for. Respect them. Now, with that being said,
I agree.
In regards to
That's definitely ironic. There's definitely some irony in that one. But go ahead. We'll let it go. Go ahead.
Bruh. All right. In regards to what Michael said, we all understand that the Constitution is, of course, what's supposed to be a living document. It was meant to be changed. All right. And in order to have it changed, it requires a constitutional convention. All right. You have to add amendments. What Donald Trump is doing is he is using a court that is already stacked in his favor because we have the majority conservative judges. So we have 6 conservative judges on the bench. All right. Now, with that being said, he's circumventing the foundational process, all right, of our government to change something that has been withstanding for over 140 years, right? Taking away birthright citizenship, and I'm going to reiterate my point, from those born here to immigrant parents, all right, is only a precursor to removing birthright citizenship. Understand that, to look outside of yourselves, although I know that can be hard, are a society of hyper individualism, but you need to look into how this can affect other groups. Also, how do people go about proving their citizenship? Who takes their birth certificate with them to the hospital when they're giving birth? All right. The only thing you typically have with you is your ID when you go to give birth. Michael and Liam, you may not know that because you haven't given birth before. All right. So you're going to have to ensure that you bring certain documents with you in order to prove citizenship. You're also going to have, and again, systemically, all right, for people of color, all right. So Black people specifically, it is typically harder for them to actually, for us, I should say, to access our birth records because we go through hurdles to actually access it. And it could be a matter of paying for it. Simply, it's so many different things that people just don't take into consideration here that I wish you all would. And you all still haven't answered the question because Smitty did ask a question. All right. What is the negative impact of immigration on you? And I like to hear from Michael when it's his turn.
Okay. All right, let's do this. Thank you, Erica. Let's go, Liam, and then Blackstone. I'll work you in, and then Michael, obviously, to answer Erica's question. But
pay for it. So I don't know what you're trying to say there, Erica, about, only Black people pay for their documentation. Hell was that? But anyway, I wanted to say this. This is the conversation I think that goes deeper. Because I think we're very surface level here, host. Honestly, I love your live, and I follow you. I don't know if you just saw that. But anyway, this is the deeper conversation. I've tried to have this conversation with Erica before. So what we are doing, what we are allowing to be done with the Democrats is we're allowing to hurt the globe as we know it. Let me explain. Okay. We are destabilizing nations, regions, because we are taking immigrants. And you go, how is that, Liam? What are you talking about? Okay. The people that are making the trip to this soil, working class from countries that need working class to build economies. So we're allowing them to stress on our economy, which the Democrats don't believe, but it could potentially be hurting our country and is definitely hurting these other nations. So why not help these other countries improve their homeland while we work on ours instead of bringing them and devastating these regions? Because this is a fact. This is true. Working class people are the ones that pay all the taxes. We're the ones that do it, people, not the billionaires. So we are hurting countries by over bringing in immigrants. That's a fact. Play the clip.
okay. All right. Thank you, Liam, for that. Let me go to the new panel, 6725. I think. Oh no, wait.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Can you hear
That works?
me?
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Actually, my name is Debbie. I just don't put my name up there.
Oh, okay,
So
Debbie. I'll refer to you. If you okay with me calling you Debbie?
Of course,
Okay.
no worries at all.
Okay. All right. What do you think about the conversation?
I'm gonna take us back a little bit here, and I hear that everybody's talking about immigration, and I hear that everybody's really concerned about this birthright citizenship. But let's go ahead back a little bit to the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision was held during the Civil War that basically said that slaves nor their American-born children will ever be able to be called citizens of the United States. That was the Dred Scott decision done before the Supreme Court. After the Civil War, people said, what are you talking about? That can't be true. And they introduced the birthright citizenship, which we are talking about today. The purpose pathway for slaves and their American-born children and their children from that point on will always be considered U.S. citizens. That's fact. That's point blank. That's the truth. Now, where are we? It has now been found that birthright citizenship, when it was put in as the Supreme Court decision back then, is no longer being ruled as intended. The purpose of it was a pathway for the slaves that, God help us, that we fought for in the Civil War, had the right to citizenship, and all of their ancestors thereafter. What's happening now? You have Cesar Chavez, who's down in Mexico, who comes across the border, baby, and his uncle has a baby. Both of those children are now American citizens. What does that help with Cesar Chavez, somebody, or international trade or international terrorism? They get to be American citizens. This is not about immigrants. This is not about the Italian guy making pizza down on 9th Street in Philadelphia and whether his kid's going to be an American citizen. The intent of birthright citizenship, point blank, and the reason it's before the Supreme Court and what they're going. What's the decision they're going to make? This is not Democrat. This is not Republican. This is not illegal immigrant. This is not legal immigrant. Is the law being applied as it was intended when it was written? And that answer is going to come up no.
Okay. All right, Debbie.
It's crazy.
Thank you for that. Let me go to Black Stories. Is you're exactly the person I want to go to.
Because
go
then now
ahead.
you're only saying that white people can be born citizens. If that's the case,
What?
only white people are citizens in this
You
country.
didn't listen
No, no,
very
no,
well.
no, no.
I'm not. No, hold, I'm not. Wait. Let me finish. I didn't interrupt you, because if that's the case, if they're going 16 to 20 years, this is why we're in a constitutional crisis right now, because conservatives want to live the same way they did back in the 1800s, which means only white people were granted citizenship because they were white. Also,
Let me do this. Like, hold on. Let's let Debbie and Black Story have a quick conversation.
No, and you know what? And I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. Was correct. They were not allowed
over here as slaves. We were enslaved.
I apologize for the terminology. If we're going to get in the weeds like that,
Yeah, we are, because it's sensitive. Just like I don't like when people say illegal, it's undocumented.
I'm so sorry you're so emotional about this.
You know,
Don't do that,
I
please.
don't want to talk to you no more. So I'm gonna say
May
this.
I, Shay? Okay.
I want to.
Man.
Can I finish with this part?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. So let's not assign the adjectives on how people are feeling unless we're that person. Let the person decide, tell us how they feel about themselves. So let's let Black Historian finish, and then I think I wanted to go to Michael, and then OD, I'm coming to you, but I gotta let you go.
So as early as I want to say the 50s, because my mother was born in a segregated hospital, a lot of Black people couldn't go to the hospital to get birth certificates. This is in my time. My mother was born in a segregated hospital, so and my great grandmother probably couldn't even get a lot of Black people can't afford birth certificates, just like they can't afford IDs. So you didn't understand what she was talking about. And the hospitals that they gave Black people when they were allowed to go into desegregated hospitals, they were born in a freaking basement with maybe one light and a bucket. So when they say stuff like that, they don't know the history. They don't.
Okay.
and they only know their white led history. But I think Erica wanted to say something before that lady pissed me off about my feelings and how I should be addressed.
Let's go, Erica, Liam. Oh no, it's been longer for Michael. Let's go, Erica, Michael, and then OD. I gotta let you go. Let you get a final comment. So Erica, Michael, OD. Go ahead, Erica.
Just to piggyback off, I wanted to respond to that lady that left, but
No, I don't know why she left. Debbie, if you're still in the chat, I would love to have you back up. Go ahead.
yeah, so she tried to make the argument that birthright citizenship only applied to the formerly enslaved. That's a lie. They actually argued, the framers and the writers of the 14th Amendment argued on the Congress floor. All right. They argued on the floor that birthright citizenship did, in fact, apply to Chinese immigrants. All right. So that it did apply to immigrants who are born here, immigrant parents. All right. So they argued that, and it was affirmed, all right, by the framers and the writers of the Dargon Amendment. All right. It'll be Cowan, and I believe because this is history, this is documented. All right. You all can research this yourselves. All right. If you disagree, you can research it. Okay. They affirmed via the amendment. That's why the language is broad as it is. And it says all persons born in the jurisdiction thereof. Okay. So I need you all to understand, all right, not just what words mean, but the context of words when they are put together. That's all I'm asking for. So the syntax. That's it. That's what I wanted to respond to.
Yeah, appreciate you, Erica. Michael, and then OD. Go ahead, Michael, your response.
I appreciate all this history, but this ruling would be going forward. It's not going to take anybody's citizenship away. And this whole mess about I can't afford a birth certificate or an ID is total hogwash. It's $20, maybe $100. My brother just got a birth certificate, copy his birth certificate because he needed a true ID to fly, and it cost him like $70. And by the way, yeah, I've been to the hospital and given birth or have two kids, and I was there for them both, and I caught them, and I had to fill out a lot of paperwork, show them my ID. It's not that big of a deal. To act like everybody is preposterous. And to put those thoughts, to assume that every white person wants it like it was in the 1800s is one of the dumbest things I've heard in a long time. Assuming that you know what white people want is ridiculous. And it's one reason it's hard to take some people serious because you say such outlandish things. I can't afford my ID. All white people want it to be like the 1800s. What about white people who are married to immigrants? They don't want that. They don't want anybody who's not white to not be a citizen. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And when you say these things, people just tune you out and say, okay, that one is someone we don't take seriously and we don't want to hear from. So maybe pick your words better and pick your thought processes better and don't assume you know what anybody thinks. It's not going to affect anybody except people who were born here without U.S. citizens as parents. So no one's going to go, okay, every person here that was a citizen that's not white, get out. Is that what you think is going to happen? Do you honestly think that's what's going to happen?
Certainly.
Yes. Let me, I beg. OD, get her final comment in. But before I do, I want to get the temperature of the chat. Chat, if you could help me out, if you could put a 1 in the comments, if you agree that the Supreme Court should hear this case. 2, if you feel like it's already been settled and we don't need to revisit it as a country. Okay, I just want to see where the chat is at. And Swan, love you, fam. Go ahead, OD, your final comment. OD, are you there? You're on mute if you're speaking.
Hey, Smitty, my final comment.
So you're on mute if you're speaking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. My thing is, like I said to Liam and Michael, I think right now they're kind of using a little I'm white and I'm right sensitivity. I just told them twice that we are actually of the same political party. And I'm holding my party accountable, saying that they're on this bullshit right now. They're not putting America first. I do not want to invest $2 million in ICE or $50 million in ICE and immigration. I need that money invested in lower taxes and shit that's important. I don't think that they're getting it why so many Republicans like myself are now like, this is ridiculous. So it's not that people are saying, oh, you're white, you're white. No, you're coming off with that attitude that I'm white and I'm right. It's very condescending. Trump is wrong. The administration has showed that they are traitors and have committed treason. And you're worried about Cesar Chavez coming across with his brother from Mexico. I mean, it's ridiculous, Smitty. I'm America first, always. And in order to have America first, our politicians have to feel that in our heart. But we have people like Michael and Liam who are $1 billion. That's a Spanish country. Why are we giving them $40 billion? I don't hear anyone talking about that. He just left our poor farmers out to dry. And all Liam, Michael, and the other lady who thought she was like teaching us something, all those points were irrelevant, Smitty. We are in danger. America is in trouble. And until we hold our government on both sides accountable, Smitty, it's going to get worse for the next generation. Okay. Thanks for having me, Smitty. I love you. You're always fair. You're my boy. You know that. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to drop down.
Thank you, OD. Always good to hear from you. All right, let's go. I promised Carolina time, and then we'll go to try to get Erica and Liam worked in here. But again, please only request, at least right now, if you do agree, I want one more person. If you do agree with holding this case for birthright citizenship, so we can balance the panel and have 3 and 3. So if you're on the request and you agree with Liam and Mike, please request. I'd like to have them have one more person up on their side. Carolina, fam, good. How are you? Talk to me. I know you wanted to come in and make a clarification.
Yes. So you know me. I'm always going to come with statistics. So I need everybody to please refrain from interrupting because I know some feelings are going to get, aka the original anchor babies, as well as the BIPOC people in the chat who are agents of white supremacy and support nationalism. This is for all of you. So when it comes to the 14th Amendment, I'm going to be citing some information from the Reconstructing Citizenship section of the National Museum of the African American, as well as the U.S. Senate landmark legislation under the ussenate.gov. And so this is just like everything that was meant for Black Americans. The white people have a tendency to benefit from it. So when we talk about the 14th Amendment, while its core goal was racial justice for formerly enslaved people, its broad language on citizenship, due process, and equal protection has also benefited white Americans by extending rights to them, like birthright citizenship for white immigrant children, and providing legal tools for various groups, including business, to challenge discriminatory laws. Birthright citizenship, the first clause, established that all persons born in the U.S. are citizens, benefiting white immigrants and their children by granting them citizenship. We also have to look at the time in which this was constructed and how white people were taking advantage of this. Again, this was intended for recently emancipated Black Americans. However, as always, white Americans, jump on a train and co-opt things for themselves, including white immigrants. Extending the Bill of Rights, it made states respect fundamental rights like free speech, property rights through the Due Process Clause, protecting white individuals from state overreach, just as it originally aimed to protect Black individuals. The Equal Protection Clause meant laws must apply equally to everyone, which, while intended to end racial discrimination, also became a basis for white women or other groups to challenge unequal treatment. In the early 20th century, businesses often owned by white individuals used the Due Process Clause to argue for corporate personhood, gaining rights, and challenging regulation. And then how it protected white unionists. The amendment was partly drafted to protect white unionists and loyalists in the South facing attacks after the Civil War. The primary goal, the amendment was a direct response to racial discrimination in the South, aka black codes, and was intended to secure citizenship and right for freed slaves. But the vague language, the general language written by figures like John Bingham, was intentionally broad, allowing for future interpretations that could apply beyond race, leading to both civil rights advancements and conservative legal challenges. So, obviously, this is an attempt to. One second. Oh, so sorry.
No. Who was the author who wrote that?
That is coming. That's information compiled from Reconstructing Citizenship. That's a section of the National Museum of African American. You can find it on their website. Okay. Additionally, from the U.S. Senate landmark legislation section on the USSenate.gov website. You can also look up.
He asked who wrote it.
Clause. Excuse me. You can also look up the Equal Protection Clause. I want people to keep in mind that this is
the article.
Excuse you, colonizer. One moment, please.
Yeah, let's let her finish.
I'm going to land my plane. So we need to keep in mind the racial undertones and overtones of legislation such as this. So please keep in mind that this was what granted recently freed black people citizenship in the United States. Women did not gain the right for full citizenship rights until 1920. American Indians, my people, the original people of this fucking land, colonizer, we did not even become citizens on our own land until 1924. So this is an example of how future interpretations of the law are necessary in order to include all people and not discriminate. Because even when this amendment was enacted, my people still did not have citizenship rights. This is merely an attempt. And for those who are trying to say, because I heard you say it, Michael, that they're not talking about being retroactive, that is a lie. You need to read Project 2025 and you need to read depositions that have been given by Stephen Miller and other members of the Trump administration that have stated very implicitly that they want that they want this to be retroactive. And then after this, their next step is to go for naturalized citizenship and try to revoke that as well. So coming at this and trying to act like it's not race-based is absolute bullshit, and y'all are colonizers and don't even deserve to be here. I land. Continue.
All right.
How rude could you be?
I know.
Let me reset the order. So Carolina mentioned Michael. So let me let Michael come in and respond. And Liam,
I'll be quick, and then Liam Simpson be more up on this. Okay, whatever Project 25 says, you might as well quote Mein Kampf. That is not a political government document. And
it's being enacted.
Okay, I didn't interrupt you at all. What the Supreme Court said, they're going to look at it, and most legal scholars said it's probably not going to go through anyway. Okay, but they did say if it was, the only way you could do it would be, going forward. You couldn't go retroactively. First, it wouldn't be feasible to do, and that's not, what the argument's about. If it's in Project 2025, great. Who gives a shit? That's not any kind of legal document. That's a book that someone wrote that has their views on it. And coming in here, calling people colonizers that maybe have been here since the 40s is the second stupidest thing I've ever heard. Besides the other Black History lady saying, "Oh, all."
Don't.
Let's not.
Bro.
Go personal, y'all. Let's not go personal, please.
I didn't want to hear.
Hold on, real quick.
I didn't want to hear. That's why
stupid.
Hold on, y'all.
Panel. I joined the panel. I just want to say this. It's funny that y'all call. I get that he said stupid, and that's honestly have a little more decorum. But the fact that you had people on here before they started their rant going with, "Oh, you white supremacist apologizers, you bootlickers, and all that," but nobody called that
colonizers. Yeah.
Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, one point.
We didn't even clock it or blink at that. It was like, it's okay. That's fine.
Hold on. Let me let Black Historian finish. I got you, Leo. I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to respond to that in a minute, but let me let Black Historian finish. Go ahead.
No, I just didn't want to hear him say anything before I went off because I'll curse. That's why I just muted him.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he's not going to say anything bad about me, or else I'll just drop him from the panel. He keep with the personal attacks toward the black women on the panel.
Well, don't personally attack people like
Shut
me.
up! I didn't say anything to you.
Okay, let's do this, y'all. Let's end the personal attacks. Okay. Let's let Michael, if you want to finish, go ahead. And then I want to get Erica and Liam in, and I want to go through.
What I said is true, and it is insulting. I'm only bringing the energy that I receive. When you call me a colonizer and the other one says, yeah, I know what you're thinking. You don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know me at all. And the other one calling me a colonizer. Hey,
the other one.
I don't colonize anything. I go to work.
The other one.
Wow.
We have our names up here. The other one.
Fucking colonizer. You need to apologize.
Racist POS.
I'm not apologizing.
Okay. Hold on, y'all. This conversation.
When he apologizes for being on my land, I'll apologize for calling him a colonizer.
Your land.
Hold on. Let's everybody mute up. Seriously. Let's have a discussion based off of this, okay? Let's not go personal anymore, right? I'm shifting over to Liam, Erica, and then Julio. Let's go. Go ahead, Liam.
Hey, Smitty, also real quick, Project 2025 is over 50% complete. So saying for us to dismiss that is not necessary. My name is Carolina. Learn to read.
Okay. Let's go to Liam. Thank you, Carolina. Go ahead.
I could search up statistics that make Democrats look bad, like Carolina, and I could come up here and just
1 second, I just told you my name. I told you my name is Carolina, not Carolina. My name is Carolina. Enough with the microaggressions. And also, I'm a socialist, not a Democrat. Continue.
Okay. Go ahead, Liam.
So yeah, I could bring up, talking points and monologue for 10 minutes and just confuse the chat and the panel and call people, names and stuff, but it really doesn't help society at all. Us coming up here and flexing like, oh, I read a little bit more than you, or I may be able to read a little bit more than you. We are all human beings. We are all American citizens on this panel, hopefully. Okay. We have a right to have these conversations with each other respectfully. All right. I myself, okay, I don't care what the color of your skin might be. Okay. I realize that there's people that are black that have historically been through some crazy shit. I totally get that. I have a heart for that. If I'm on the subway and there's a woman, whatever color she might be, I'm going to get out of my seat. I'm going to let her sit. Okay, I'm going to do that. Right? And that's where mankind, kindness, that's where it all comes into play. Okay. Also, through democracy, I know we're a constitutional republic. That's another controversial topic here, but let's go with democracy if we're talking to the Democrats. Okay, whatever it might be. Democracy voted in Donald Trump, people, okay? Just like it voted in the mayor of New York, right? That Trump said, hey, I hope he's going to do a great job because the people wanted the man, Mondami. They wanted him. That's what someone like Donald Trump, even though you hate him, he goes, the people wanted him. Let him do his job. He might not do a great job, but what am I going to do here? Bitch and complain about the man? What's that going to do? Cause more division? Stop calling people colonizers and all this bullshit. Live in the moment. Get a clip.
So real quick. Let me go to so hold on. Let me, because I'm gonna run it real strict. Let me go to Erica and then Julio. Then I'm gonna address what Julio had to say. Go ahead, Erica. I know you want to jump in. Go ahead.
Before I begin, I just want to say, Shay, you are so freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh, have mercy. It's beautiful. So beautiful. Anywho, yeah, with that being said, I'm going to focus now. Okay, so I want to go back because I think they misunderstood what I said in regards to IDs. I never said that Black people are the only ones who have to pay for IDs. What I said is Black people and other marginalized groups typically face hurdles when trying to obtain them.
Oh, she must have got a call. Hold on.
Fudge, I got to call. Bubba is calling. I have to call him back. So I'm going to
you're good. You want me? Okay. Let me go to Julio real quick. Let me go to Julio. Go ahead, Julio. Your opinion on birthright citizenship, and then I'll address what you said in calling. Go ahead. Julio, are you there? You're on mute, Julio, if you're speaking.
I muted myself. Sorry about that. I did the respectful thing and stay quiet while other people were talking. The reality is that birthright citizenship, although yes, you are here, you're born. There's a word that was left out of the 14th Amendment that she was reading that is subject to the jurisdiction of it, which is what he's focusing on. If you're not here legally, if you haven't immigrated legally, if you broke into somewhere, that doesn't give you the right to that place. Squatters aren't given the right to the home they jump into. That's not how it works. Like maybe in California, you're given a lot more benefits than the actual homeowner, but that's that situation. Now, it being that, how do you reward someone who broke the law just to have a kid here? I mean, it used to be a running joke when we were kids. Run across, have your baby right there on American land, and automatically an American citizen. That was the joke when we were growing up, and I grew up on the border. I saw this regularly on the border. So I can tell you right now that, like, although I understand people wanting a better life, we can't ignore the fact that there were people that were on this app, because there was a gentleman on this app who got arrested and deported for going on here and saying, look at all these people coming to work hard. I came here for vacation. Why? Because my baby's being given her due. She's an American. She was born here. And then he started telling people how to gain squatters' rights and steal homes. I know y'all remember who he was. He was on TikTok. He was all over the place. He was from Colombia or something. He was literally blowing it up and telling people, this is how you come take from Americans. Not me, Americans, but the rest of Americans, all of y'all, all of us. We have less because people come in here and steal more. I have no problem with immigrants. My dad's an immigrant. My grandmother made sure she crossed him over here legally. She was an American citizen. He was born in Mexico because that's where she had land. She brought her kids over legally. But why is it when we talk about doing things the legal way, it's always minorities that have problems with it? Because we talk about minorities having trouble finding IDs or having the money, or they face hurdles to get the money. Yeah, you know what? Probably you're absolutely right, but everybody faces hurdles. And I can tell you right now, I have never met a member of the minority community that ever faces enough hurdles to stop them from getting an ID when they need to cash a check or get some benefits from the government. Never. You can hate me.
That racist piece of shit.
Whoa!
That was
What?
racist.
How is that racist? Hold on. How is it racist?
Hold on.
Racist.
Hold on.
Can you address Julio when he's done, please?
Yeah. Let me come to Carolina.
Hold on.
So first off,
my question is,
go ahead.
Shut up.
I'm still talking. You interrupted me.
Hold on.
It doesn't matter. You're being
Hold on. We're not doing this. Hold on. First off,
I wasn't done. I was not
The
done.
host is telling you to shut up.
Hold on. Yes, I am. So look. Here's the thing. Okay. So let me address, Julio, what you said.
Real quick. So if I'm not going to be allowed to,
The host is telling you to be quiet.
On you to be quiet. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Because let me address what you said, and then I went. I think. No, Julio, I'm gonna give you another. Listen. Y'all gotta listen. I'm gonna give you another opportunity.
I will see you later, because this is what happens all the time. Somebody jumps in, calls me a name, and then they start talking, and then it's like, okay, I have to be quiet, not finish my point. Because
okay, listen, you guys, listen. Okay, well now Julio's gone, but let me address what Julio had to say. Okay, so what Julio said earlier, I'm not gonna address his comment, right? I'll let Carolina. I think somebody wants to address that.
Can we also try to bring him back up?
Yeah. Hold on. Let's Julio's back in the request. We'll bring him back up. Okay.
Okay.
However, what Julio said, okay. Hold on. Give me a second. We'll invite Julio back up. Okay, because actually I want Julio to hear this.
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah, he said your moderator kicked him.
Hold on.
Which is typical.
Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Let me deal with this. All right, Julio, you back. Okay. So I want to address what you said about my panel, because it is my panel, right? I take responsibility for what happens on the panel. Okay. You said, hey, you know what, Smitty, you're letting, certain people say certain terms, colonizer, blah, 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 blah. Right? Okay. Now, and let me also say this. Yes, Somebody said Julio should be allowed to say what he says. Yes, so long as it isn't damaging, right, and disrespectful to other people, everybody should be allowed to say what they say. That's a landmark or a benchmark of this panel. However, right, when it comes to certain words and certain terms, okay, there are going to be people from communities like the indigenous community, like the Black community, whatever community, right, that are going to say things because of the systemic impacts of what has happened to those communities. And so I have a lot more tolerance for those terms and those saying than I do for people who have not been impacted. Now, does it mean that it applies, what Catalina is saying applies to Michael or to Liam or to me or to anybody, right? It may or may not, but I can tell you, I, as a man, would rather be called a name, right, than have to deal with what women have to deal with. They got it way harder than me. If the worst I got to deal with is a name, so be it. If it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? And so now what I will clock is people who are in privilege, whether it be a man, whether it be a heterosexual, whether it be whatever, that use terms, because you already got privilege. There's no need to use those terms. So I may not agree with Carolina's perspective or what she says about somebody, but I understand why she says it, because of the systemic harm that her community has faced. And so, yeah, right? Listen, there's a thousand. Hold on, y'all. I'm almost finished. There's 1,000 other panels you can go to with 1,000 other types of rules. You don't like mine? That's fine, right? But people are angry, and people have the right to say things because of what's happened to their group systemically. Now, again, some people, you may not agree. That's fine, right? You may not agree with how I feel about it. Listen, that's okay. That's okay, right? That will discuss the same topic, and you may agree with that more. But that's why I let it go.
I do like how you run
Let's let him finish. Go ahead, Michael.
Said is bullshit. Sorry, it just is.
Okay, congratulations. I would like to please respond.
I would like to finish.
Talk to Julio. Well, I know, but this is going to be in response to what you said, and we can continue discussing. Okay.
Because she had a hard life.
Okay, so anyway, I probably live in a house that's more expensive than your entire life. But anyway.
Okay.
But you still call people.
Hold on, everybody. Seriously. Let's just make our points, y'all.
I'm going to try to be nice.
Because even I'm getting tired of it. Let's just make our points. Okay.
I'm trying really hard to be nice, but we can't deny the fact that white people are here as a result of colonization.
So can I finish? We're not gonna discuss.
Okay, so I'm gonna Julio. This is important because this pertains to conversation with you.
Can I ask you a question, Carolina?
Yes, absolutely.
How is what you're saying more important than what I was saying?
It's not. This is a conversation with you. This is a conversation with you, Julio, this is a response to what you were saying, and I want us to have a conversation very calmly. Julio, óyeme.
Because I was interrupted by being called a racist.
Julio, óyeme, please. We're going to have a conversation right now.
Pero todavía me estás interrumpiendo.
Okay, pero ahora vamos a hablar. Okay, so here we go. By the way, real quick. Oh my God.
No estamos hablando, me estás educando, es lo que quieres hacer.
It's not you. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay, and by the way, to the people in the chat, no, I'm not Hispanic. I am an indigenous woman. I'm a citizen of my tribe. Thank you. Okay, so Julio.
He lives in a big old house.
Were you born, real quick, this is important to how this comes. Oh my God.
Everybody, please.
Input control issues of settlers.
Okay.
So, I'm trying. So, Julio, this is important to the conversation. Were you born in the United States? Can you answer me?
No.
Okay. How did you come to the United States?
No, I'm not going to answer you because I'm not done with my point.
So
you said you were responding to me.
Okay.
You said you were responding to me. You didn't say you were asking me questions.
Go ahead and land your plane.
Thank you.
And then I would like to ask these questions.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So my point was that, and it wasn't to be racist against the minority community, because I grew up there. I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up poor. I grew up having a lot of stuff that most people, that I would honestly used to say that people had white privilege. And I've actually seen white privilege. White privilege is a little bit more subtle than people make it out to be right now. It's not this grandiose thing. And I'll be honest with Michael and Liam, there is a white privilege that y'all have, and I'm not saying just you, but there is a white privilege where you feel that, yes, it's not intentional, I don't think. I think it's just how you were raised, where you believe that everything is okay to have. Whereas Latinos, we know that there are some forms of respect that needs to be given and had. I'm assuming even as Black people, I'm not Black, so I wouldn't know, but that not everything is yours, and you have to work your way around it to get what you want. I work for a white man that honestly, he's the one that showed me what white privilege really means, because he has this thing about him where just everything is his, the world is his oyster, he can have whatever he wants. My point is, when we start to say, hey, we can't have, it's Latinos and Blacks and minorities struggle to get their ID, so that's a racist law. We find a way to say that Latinos and Blacks and minorities, we shouldn't progress with having certain things that protect this country because it may be hurtful or worse for people of minorities. That's to say, hey, you know what? These people aren't capable of doing what white people are doing, so let's not impose that upon them. And what I'm saying is, yes, we are, because we've all found a way to get things done. So how is that racist?
Okay. I would like to first make
hold on, bro. Real quick,
Okay.
before you say that.
Okay.
But okay, so Julio, okay, some of what you said I was with, right? But at the same time, when you say you grew up in minority areas, and the first thing you say about minority areas is the ghetto, can't you see how problematic that is, bro? Like the first thing I think about when I think about Latinos or Black people or Asians is not the ghetto, man. It's not, right? That's not the first thing I think about, bro.
No. So when we were put into neighborhoods, because you all talked about redlining and how things worked out for against the communities, we were placed in the barrios, in the ghettos. Our streets weren't the best. They were what you would consider the barrio. They were considered the low class of it, because that's what in the past we were thought of. We have overcome, and we have started to build our own. So to go back and say we can't do this because it's racist against us, we have overcome. That is my fight against what is being said. Is that we're still looking at ourselves like we can't do it.
Okay, hold on. But hold on, Julio. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this and let me go back to Carolina. If you would have said it that way, everybody would have loved you, bro.
Well, I don't know about that.
If you would have said it like, hey, we've overcome and we pushed ahead.
Social. That's why we ask questions and we don't make assumptions.
No, but hold on. Listen. This is what I need you to understand. This is what I need you to understand. What you said played on very problematic stereotypes. Okay, what you said about getting benefits and minorities know how to get benefits. Right, that plays on very harmful stereotypes. If you would have said, "Hey, us Black people, us Latinos, right? We overcome. We're building our own stuff. Where our economies are growing," I would have loved it.
Which part of the family? We're from all over.
Okay, you said you're Latino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which Latin American nation?
Spain, Mexico.
Spain is not a Latin American nation, so Mexico. Did your parents immigrate here? Did your grandparents immigrate here?
Why?
Oh my God. Okay, so you're gonna be obtuse, so I'm gonna point this out.
I'm not being up. I'm asking.
Okay, no, you are. So we're just gonna get to the point because you want to play games. So yeah, Spain is definitely not a Latin American country, but this is the problem with what you were saying. Okay, you were basically saying rules for them and not for us. So we know. How did the majority of white Americans become United States citizens?
Oh, they conquered. They took over.
Conquered is an extremely incendiary word. So they invaded, and they created a genocide on my people. Okay. And then they also trafficked over enslaved Africans. And as I just was reading off of that information, the primary beneficiaries of this act, of the 14th Amendment, were white immigrants and their children. They are the original anchor babies. They were coming here because they were being offered plots of land and money as immigrants to come over here to whiten America as much as possible. We know this. This is noted in history. So it's just very interesting that now all of a sudden that the majority of immigrants in the later half of the 20th and the beginning of the 21st century are primarily brown, specifically Amerindian people from Latin America, and Black people who are from Latin America, the Caribbean, as well as Africa. So now all of a sudden it's a problem that it's not as many white immigrants. That is why we have to talk about race, because that is the impetus behind pushing the removal of the 14th Amendment. Given that the primary benefactors the beneficiaries of this amendment are white, we have to be able to address that. Y'all constantly want to separate race. You want to think that like you are special, that you're one of the chosen ones, that Julio.
You're talking.
You
at me,
think
you're not
that they
talking
are
to
going
me.
to pick you? No amount of bootlicking is going to make them pick you. You would only be a token for them. So this is extremely problematic that you're going to take this position against people, once again, who are coming because they have no other legal means to get here. The United States Empire has eradicated every viable means for legal immigration for people from the global south, making it virtually impossible, I'm not saying completely, to come here legally. So if you are not willing to have an honest conversation about race, this is not the topic for you.
Let's let Julio come in. Let's let Julio come in response to that. And I do want to work in the other panelists. Go ahead, Julio.
Again, how can we have an honest conversation when you just ranted for about? And respectfully, let me rephrase that so that I don't trigger the anger. You went off explaining to me the history of America without having a conversation with me. When you were asking me questions, you weren't asking me questions to get to know me or have a conversation with me. You were trying to walk me into this trap. This is what I'm talking about. We don't live in that time anymore. That doesn't exist. It's past. We cannot change the past any more than we'd want to. This is where we are now. This is the situation that we're in now. And unfortunately, it is what it is. White people came in, they did what they did. It's over and done with. How do we move forward from here? And in all respect, with all respect, there are people that are moving into this country, and they're not Latin American people. They're from the European nations, from the Middle East Asians, that have no respect for the way we have all chosen to live our lives in this country. It is not about race. It is about the fact that we want to be able to live here, be able to mouth off however we want, say what we want to say without getting popped, taken down, beat down, put in a grave, which is what would happen.
So hold on. So real quick, Julio, let me. But where is this happening? So where is this happening when you say people from these countries are doing this? Because I got to tell you, right? I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay, I got to tell you the biggest fear that I have, right, is my son and my daughter who go to high school and middle school, of something happened to them, and that's typically not somebody from some Asian or Middle Eastern or Latin American country doing that. That's somebody who's 99% of the time native born to America. That's what I'm worried about. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm not worried about some person from some country. I'm worried about somebody from down the street doing something stupid.
I'm worried.
He said Julio.
You're right, but
the greatest threat to American citizens, I'm so sorry, real quick. The greatest threat to American citizens are YT US born T-wordists. But anyway,
let's let Julio respond to that, and then I think Liam, you want to say something. But
you're right. But see, your kids are in school right now, which is what you said. When they grow up and they start lives of their own, I'm more than sure your fear will change, and it changes no matter what. If you're being honest with yourself, there are several things that we can be afraid of, but white people being in school and being unhinged and going off on their classmates is not the topic of discussion that we're having here. The topic of discussion was citizenship, and I'm honestly telling you that there is a majority of people that have formed gangs in these streets that don't create the culture of America, which is being able to live free and live how you want, believe how you want, and think how you want. That is what this country, that is what the idea or the premise of this country is. Now, if you want to do the woe is me, my life sucks, honestly, yeah, you know what? Life hasn't been great for a lot of us, myself included. And no, I didn't come here legally or illegally. I was born on this soil. My parents were born on the soil. My grandparents were born on the soil. The last time I had someone, a family member that was actually Mexican, other than my dad, mind you, because he was born over there because they had land over there, that wasn't American, was prior to Texas becoming a state in the United States.
So the only reason I brought up what I brought up, Julio, is that you said that you have a concern with people coming from certain countries and you use the term like unaliving or hurting people. And so I was just in response to that telling you what I fear the most, given that I live in a nice neighborhood and my kids go to school and see what happens to a lot of kids in schools. That to me is a much bigger fear for me. You're right. Maybe my fear will change. I don't think it's going to change to those specific people, but it might change to something else. I don't know. But that's why I brought it up. I didn't bring it up to change the
And it's not
topic.
about
Well,
specific people. It's
I
not
was
about,
Can I say
responding.
something? Cállate, por favor, Julio. Hablas mucho, güey. Neta que hablas mucho, pendejo.
ay, gracias. Hablamos español. That makes us more Hispanic.
Cállate,
Okay.
cállate, pinche
No,
pasalero,
sí.
cállate.
Okay. Let's let real quick. Yes, Gina's new. Let me let Gina come in. Liam, Black. I'm trying to get everybody. So let me just set the order. Gina, Liam, Black historian, Erica. Okay, let's do that. Gina, Liam, Black historian, Erica. Go ahead, Gina.
Thank you, Smitty, for allowing me in your space.
Of course, man.
Hello, panel, except Liam and Julio.
Mamacita.
You're disgusting. So I want to say, when it comes to the naturalization, right? And there was a Naturalization Act of 1790, and this goes back all the way to 1790. And James Madison said, I conceive that Virginia should particularly adopt every method to introduce more whites, if possible to diminish blacks. If immigrants were fixed to the westward, would they not combat against Indians? And I'm just quoting this, Negroes. That's what they said, James Madison. Julio, you are so far from your damn heritage. This is the problem within our community. You guys think that because you've been here 3 generations, you can fucking ladder pull the next person. Tú tienes la pinche cara de nopal, de nopalote en tu cara, that you want to come up here and you want to ladder pull for the people. Our people have been on these lands. And for you to say shit that you say, man, it's just really a lot of self-hatred going on. A lot of self-hatred. Our people weren't even considered people, citizens, until well into the 18 to 1900s. So for you to come up here with your full chest to be that fucking disingenuous to your own fucking people is fucking dangerous. And these are the people that we have to call out in our own communities. Julio, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You've been here 3 fucking generations. Cállate el hocico, cállate el hocico. No hablas cuando yo estoy hablando, pendejo. Let me talk. Let me talk, cállate. You've been talking over the ladies this entire time. But as soon as Smitty talks, you want to shut up. Be quiet. Ya sé que tienes el pito chiquito, güey. Be quiet. So what I'm trying to say is you've been here 3 fucking generations and you want to assimilate so far into patriotism and white tea, whatever the hell you think it is. You'll never be them. Especially you. Have you not looked in the mirror? Have you not fucking looked in the mirror and seen how brown you are? I'm sorry, Smitty. He was just pissing me off.
No,
I had to be
I'm
okay.
trying to
Thank
be
you.
anybody. Do you know what I do for the Latino people?
Go ahead. So
You
real
know what I do
quick.
for the Latino people? Do you know how I try to get my people to become legal?
Hold on. It's
Because all you do is run.
So hold on. It's Julio's turn because Gina mentioned them, and then Liam, I'm gonna let you go next.
Thank you,
Go ahead, Julio. Go ahead.
You don't know the difference between you and me is what I'm saying is stop telling Latinos that they can't do something, that we have to make things softer for them because that's
Hold on, y'all.
quit turning me off. You don't want to hear what I have to say. That's fine. You can put yourself on mute, but the reality is, my point is that we need to stop telling Latinos that they can't do something. You all over here going, oh, white tea's coming for me, white tea's coming for that. I'm over here trying to teach people how to become legal citizens, how to actually get on the right side so they don't get deported, so they don't ruin their lives. That is what my family, what we do. We fundraise to build these people, to make them legal, to bring them in this country. What are you doing? Ranting and saying, oh, mira lo que haces tú, cállate los hocico, pendeja. That's all you're doing. Why? Because that's all you know is to rant and bitch. There's a difference between you and me. The difference is I saw my family come over here, claw and struggle through that line to get here. And every time I see somebody just jump the line, all that does is paint a target on our back. The ones that have already been here struggling to make this world better for the Latino community. So whether you like me or not, say whatever you want. You don't want to hang with me because I'm telling you the truth? Fuck it. We don't have to hang. When with that, Smitty, I will say goodbye because I'm done hearing this ignorance from your panel.
Bye.
Que te vayas a la verga, güey.
Okay.
Good riddance.
All right. Let me let Liam go. This is Liam's turn. We'll go straight to panel.
Okay. I'm sorry that he left. I think he had a lot of good things to say. I mean, we needed somebody, like that drives the conversation. I think that Gina is very emotional, mamacita. She talks mucho, habla mucho.
Fucking talk to me like that.
Nada. Cállate.
That was from the host. That was from me, Liam. Just so we can be clear.
Wow.
Hold on. That one was for me. So I got a call right when I did it. But I'm gonna claim that one. That was a Smitty drop. This is what I don't understand. Okay, this is what I don't understand. If you have a valid perspective, you think this is okay, right? You think this is a good thing. That's totally fine, right? I don't know why you people need to resort to doing that, right? That kind of rhetoric is horrible, right? Just make your point, right? All you got to do is make your point. No need to mock the Latinas, the indigenous people, right, or people with from any community. Just make your point, right? So if you don't do that, I'm gonna drop. Just as I encourage the entire panel not to go into personal insults. Now, let's do this. We got 4 people where I know where they stand. I would like to get 2 people that agree with this, okay, that would agree with this Supreme Court decision to hear this case. So if you're in the request and you do agree, please put a 1 in the chat so I can bring you up, okay? Let's go to Erica.
I thought I was after Liam.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my bad. It was Black Historian. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to keep it.
Okay, I'm good.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I'm gonna drop after this, and if you're still here, I'll come back up.
Okay.
It's funny. Liam said he wasn't racist, but he didn't say anything when the white man was calling Carolina black. The black needs to, and then he played right off into it by saying mamacita. He's racist. Also, I wrote this down real quick. When they were talking about just because you have freedom of speech doesn't free you from the consequences. Say what you want, but you're not guaranteed. You will get knocked the F out if you say it in front of the wrong group of people. And Trump is basically trying to tell people how to think, what to read with those Bibles. With the Bibles and with removing history, with the burning of the books. So the hypocrisy of them to come up here and say, oh, we should be able to say what we want to say, but basically if you're on the left, you can't, because it infringes on my rights. They're colonizers. It's okay for them to do whatever the F they want, but when we start fighting back, it's a problem. But yeah, I mean, I knew the racism would come out. One of these indigenous or black women was going to bring it out in them, because the misogyny. And Julio needs to be ashamed of himself. He's mad because he didn't get picked. That's what it is. By a woman or by a white man. But thanks for having me up.
All right, Black Historian, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to. I'm gonna drop you. Let me go to Erica, and then let me work in Jobel and T Sizzle after Erica. Go ahead, Erica. Thank you.
Oh, okay. It was a lot. I would say that listening to Julio, especially with him saying that was the past, we need to focus on how to move forward. And because the past doesn't matter now, that's what he said. That to me came across as a complete disregard and a dismissal of systemic racism existing in our society. It's like he does. Like he doesn't have a sense of how what has happened in the past affects people now, especially in regards to our indigenous people here on this land. This is their land. They were forced onto reservations. They were forced to get what's known as a tribal ID. Yet those tribal IDs are not recognized in most cases on a state and federal level. So for people who do live on the reservation, all right, who do have economic inequalities and who may be struggling, all right, financially, all right, it is harder for them to obtain the necessary documentation to actually get what we now have to do, a real ID, which can cost $20 to $50. All right. Along with, let's say, a birth certificate. Like they have to go along and get these different documents, and it can be harder for them to obtain it. The same thing goes for Black people. With Black people, 25% of Black people do not have a government issued ID.
Mm.
All right. This is per the Movement Advancement Project. They call themselves MAP and also the Brennan Center. All right. 25% of Black people, that's a quarter, don't have a government issued ID. All right. Also, another thing is that when it comes to our Hispanic community, all right, 16% of our Hispanic demographic does not have a government issued ID. All right. And when it comes to the undocumented community, they have other barriers that are in place here where they don't know how to navigate the system due to sometimes language barriers that are in place, along with the fact that they may be afraid to obtain a government issued ID because they don't know how to navigate our system. And they're afraid that they may, incur some issues from ICE, from immigration enforcement. So there's that. I mean, they have the privilege. The two white men that were up here, all right, and also Julio. Looking at your picture, you likely identify as white. So there's that. Get mad. So with that being said, with the three white men that were up here, they are speaking from a place of privilege. They don't have to incur these issues. All right. They have a financial status where they don't have to incur this. And they also have the privilege of being white in this country. So they don't have to worry about being stopped and asked for an ID. They don't have to worry about if they have to prove their citizenship or anything of that nature. Also, for the person in the chat, all right, I'm going to need you to learn what words mean. Words have meaning, people. All right. Words mean things. Okay. All right. I am a dark skinned Black woman. I can no way, shape, or form be a colorist. Okay. I do not participate in colorism. All right. Because I can in no way, shape, or form benefit from colorism. I need you all to understand what words mean. Now, with that being said, Smitty, that was a lot. It was so much that just happened on this
That was a
panel. Oh
lot.
my God.
That was a lot.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That
I
was a
just
lot.
try to address it all, Smitty.
No,
But
that
yeah,
was,
so
it was a
Erica, to
lot.
back you up
It
real
was a
quick,
lot.
because
Oh, yeah,
some
go
people
ahead.
in the chat were trying to discredit what you were saying about tribal IDs. For those of you who are saying, "Oh, our tribal IDs are accepted," yes, they are supposed to be accepted. That does not mean that all states cooperate, especially states that do not have any federally recognized tribes residing there. They are not cooperative, and they often will refuse tribal IDs and make it harder for indigenous people. So what she said is accurate. Regardless of what it's supposed to be, it is not enacted equitably.
All right. Thank you.
thank you,
Let
Caroline.
me,
I
let me, let me,
appreciate that. I want you all to be like extremely seriously friggin' for real and think things through. Use some critical thinking skills, use some context, some nuance. Like, be better human beings and just read a friggin' book.
all right.
I
Thank you.
just wanted to clarify something really quick, Smitty, with what Jobo was asking, because again, a lot of this gets swept up in the weeds. So, Joe I'm sorry for asking about the children born on the soil of United States. Okay. I don't want to infer anything here, but it was almost sounding like you were saying that people, either cross the border or come here with their status and question, and just to have children here. But that's kind of a broad generalization. The Supreme Court has long held, actually for over 125 years of understanding of that constitutional right, that if you are born on American soil, with like narrow exceptions of children of like foreign diplomats, or if you're born to like a foreign occupying force or something like that, that's precedent. So what the court is actually, and how we got here is because Trump, on his very first day of office, signed this into like as an executive order. And Smitty, I'm actually very concerned with the makeup of this conservative court, seeing as that birthright citizenship is tied to the 14th Amendment, which has to do with formerly enslaved Black people in America. Given the history of how this court has been acting with Trump's executive orders, remember, this is the same court that allowed sweeping profiling, right? Shocker. So it's not a stretch to see that even naturalized people or mixed statuses may come into question. And so I just want people to understand, like, there's a series of events that have led to this. And the fact that they even like the court has to, it's not like lower courts. They have to accept the case. And the fact that they chose to accept this case, to even review it, is problematic. And I hope and pray that they do the right thing. But just to answer his question about like children, I mean, that's a long held precedent that's tied to the 14th Amendment. And it's long been held that if you are born on American soil, you are an American citizen. And that is what they're trying to upend right now. Now, they are specifically, now the court's reading of this, the synopsis is they're trying to narrow it right now just to people whose parents have undocumented status. But it's not a far stretch against me. I mean, you couldn't have paid me to believe that the Supreme Court would have ruled that it's okay to profile people, and yet here we are. So this is a really important conversation to have.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you, Nichelle. Let me go to T Sizzle. T Sizzle, hope you're doing good, bro. What are your thoughts on why you are for the Supreme Court holding this case?
Just because the question is there, it just needs to be specific now. Straight I'll say it because there is the question. Let's also remember the reason why they have a majority is because what's the Supreme Court justice name that wouldn't retire? The lady that passed?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right. And if she would have retired when Obama asked her to, maybe we wouldn't be going through this. But the question just needs to be it needs to be specific now. We can say precedent and all that, but now that's why I'm saying it needs to be answered. That's just the bottom line. That's specifically all I have to say right now. And then
just to clarify,
the other thing I want
when
to
you
say
said the
is
specific question, what question?
To the other people who say these things, like when a dude said ghetto and he put the extra on it, the ghetto. He knew what he was doing because soon as you said something, he corrected himself. He knew what he was doing. This is the other thing. If you may say you're not racist or whatever, but it's like if you have a mechanic's uniform on and then I come ask you about my car and then you say, why are you asking me about a car? Well, you got a mechanic's uniform on. If you're speaking like a racist, we're going to assume that you are. So the people, and then they get, why are you calling me? You're acting like one, i.e., you're wearing that uniform. So I'm going to think that you are.
Okay. All right, T says, I'm looking for people that want this Supreme Court case to be held. But I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna let you go. But I will bring you back for the discussion.
It's all right, specifically, I thought it was kind of clear. Yeah, I'm sorry. I do think it's just for us, though. It was specifically for us, and all these other people are just taking advantage of it.
Okay. Wait a minute. That's
clear when you say us.
You're saying because you feel like the birthright citizenship was to protect the citizenship for the formerly enslaved, that you're okay with them now revisiting it. Is that what you're saying? T Sizzle? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Smitty, can he please clarify who us is?
Exactly, Erica. I was sitting here like, wait a minute, who's he talking about here?
Yeah, let's
Sounded real FBI-ish.
So, T Sizzle, can you hear me, bro? I think we lost T Sizzle. Okay. All right.
I know Gina wanted to say something. I think in regards to what Joe Bell said.
Yeah, I think Gina. Yeah, go ahead, fam. Go ahead, Gina.
Thank you, Erica. No, I just wanted to respond to Jobel when he was telling Carolina not to talk about color. And I just think that it's a little bit funny that he says that, because when the Supreme Court ruled basically to legally profile Hispanic people, Latino people, brown people, however they want to label themselves as, the verbiage in the Supreme Court ruling was that if ICE members were able to Spanish-speaking languages, and also based off of the color of their skin, they were able to pull them over and basically detain them. So to say, let's not talk about color is very fucking disingenuous. And I love when they say that shit, because your head is so far up your booty hole, it's ridiculous.
All right, thank you, fam.
Can he maybe respond and then I ask him address something he said? Can he respond to Gina and then?
Yes, go ahead, Joel.
I just love the way that they freaking run with insults and shit. I'm just not a racist. I don't give a shit about the color. I don't care who it is or what color they are. You know, if they're doing something, they're just doing something stupid. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. Okay? I don't care what color they are. You know, I don't fascinate about that. I don't give a shit about that. I don't live running around, you know, asking, oh, is this racist? I'm always racist. You know, what the that's, you know, that's your problem.
You may not, but the government does. So that's very disingenuous.
Don't make it mine. I'm not the government. I just live life just like you in this world, you know? But I do know that if I break the law, I'm going to get arrested. Showing my ID, you know, and I'm not going to be in.
I would really like to address him now if he can come off a teacup because
I think you got a call.
Yeah, Jobel, you better tell them. Okay, yeah, Jobel, I would like to address you. So I'm going to try to stay calm and I'm going to use my pre-K teacher voice. So I would like to ask you first, what is your race and ethnicity?
I'm Hispanic.
Hispanic is not a race.
Oh, what do you mean?
It's not a race. So there are 5 races. There's Black, White, Amerindian, Asian, or Pacific Islander. Which one of those do you most closely identify with?
I'm from the island of Puerto Rico. So what would you call it? We speak Spanish.
Are you a white Puerto Rican? Are you an Afro Puerto Rican? Or are you primarily Taino?
I have brown skin.
Okay.
So I don't run off.
We'll leave that alone. So here's an interesting. So
this is the problem. This right here is the problem.
Okay, 1 second, Jobel. I'm getting your frame of reference. Jobel. Cálmate, güey.
Dale. Oh my God.
Okay.
Don't come with
that. No, me vale. Okay, so the reason why I ask is because this is some of that privilege that we see. Puerto Ricans don't have to go through the immigration process. So oftentimes people within the Latino community are extremely biased towards other Latinos because they don't have to jump through the same hoops. Now, not all Puerto Ricans are like this, but there are many that are. So this is interesting that you don't want to talk about the historical context or the racial context. And I'm probably going to sound like a broken record to those who are regularly in this chat and on this panel. However, we have to talk about race and we have to talk about history. You made a statement earlier. I think it's funny that you said, I would be mad if people are jumping the line in front of me. Baby, you're not in a line. You're Puerto Rican. You've never been in a line. You can come and go as you please. So that was already disingenuous to say that because you know that. You know that you're a U.S. citizen by birth. However.
So are you. You're here, right?
Aguántame. Okay. So this is the issue that I have. You're not talking about the barriers that are in place for the people who are primarily coming over here undocumented. Mind you, this is not a criminal offense. It's a civil infraction. Okay. So it's a civil infraction. So you guys automatically leveling it up to some sort of like felonious, action is crazy. But we have to talk about the fact that the United States empire has been consistently destabilizing the global south, which includes Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa primarily, for decades, for the better majority of the 20th century and all of the 21st century. So I have mentioned in this live several times, if you look at the U.S. visa denial rate on the Department of State website, it shows you that the denial rate for visa applications for people from Latin American and African countries is extremely high, ranging between 45% and well into the 80th percentile. The visa denial rate for people from white and European countries is less than 10%, with many of them being around 1%. And some even 0. So we take that into consideration, knowing that the U.S. immigration system already favors white immigrants more than it does indigenous and African immigrants, okay? Then you take into account all of the barriers that are put in place by the United States destabilizing Nicaragua, Honduras, Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, all of these countries, Cuba, Venezuela. There have been active CIA, FBI, all of the alphabet gang initiatives to destabilize destabilize these countries, overthrow democratically elected leaders, install right-wing dictators, which later lead to G-sides of those people there and later leads to immigration. Where are people going to go when the resources are being extracted from their countries? They're going to go to the country where those resources are going, which is the United States empire. So they are not here because they want to be Americans. They are here because they are trying to survive, and the United States empire is taking everything from them. So when you say something like everybody needs to get in line, there is no line, Papa. They have eliminated asylum process for the people who are most vulnerable, like Nicaragua, Haiti, Cuba. They have eliminated that. So when you take away all the legal measures, at that point, you're not having an honest conversation.
All right, let's do this real quick. Let me let Ebonics come in, and then I want to go to Sag. But before I do, again, another quick poll. I want to see, if folks have changed their mind or whatever it may be. It was pretty like 65-35 against this happening. A lot of folks that were in here that want this case to be heard. So if you want the case to be heard, put a 1 in the comments. If you do not want this case to be heard by the Supreme Court, put a 2. It was pretty balanced before. Let's see where we are now. Go ahead, Ebonics. What are your thoughts? Sounds like you are for this happening, and why so?
Hi. So for me, I guess I do want to hear the case being heard. I want to hear the arguments being made, and also I want to hear the arguments being made. I guess the impact though of opening the case then is okay. Then it leaves open the idea of can someone? I mean, there's that risk of people may not be born citizens in the U.S. anymore. And I guess that is something, that's the consequence of that. But I am interested in hearing the case. I've heard different arguments over it. I will say, though, that I definitely think, and I'm not even thinking of illegal immigration when I say this, but I definitely think like birth tourism. I know like rich people, rich Russians, rich Chinese, rich Arabs, they've participated in birth tourism where their kids, they come over and their kids get citizenship automatically. I'm against that. But I think it's also very hard to speak against the indigenous people of like the Americas. So I'm just curious to hear the arguments, and I guess the consequence of hearing the arguments is then you end up reopening the whole case when that plays with people's lives. Yes, but not every country around the world gives citizenship automatically as well. So I'm interested in hearing the case, and I've heard different arguments about it.
All right. Does anybody want to jump in and rebut that before I go to Sag? Michelle, Carolina, or Erica?
Real quick, just super quick. So the community, now, this is like, it's almost like a puzzle. So it's kind of coming together. So the demographics that would be disproportionately affected by this are the Latino, Asian, and of course other communities of color. I don't know if anybody's like heard this term about the browning of America, right? Again, I'm going to go back to this case, how we got here, the lower courts that struck it down, and I want to remind everybody that the Supreme Court has to take up this case, right? I'm kind of with Ebonics about what the arguments are. I mean, you can go to the Supreme Court and look at the synopsis of the case so far. That's what I'm going to pull up for myself while everyone else is talking. But there are going to be huge consequences for this. And I think we live in a perpetual state of, that's not going to happen, right? And then it happens. No, that's not going to happen. But remember, this is tied to the 14th Amendment, right? So Smitty, does that call your citizenship into question, right? I mean, think about this. Ted Cruz, who somebody in the chat put this in, absolutely he would be affected by this, right? So this has wider sweeping consequences than what we're kind of all debating when we talk about the racial undertones. Of course, that's there as well. But just like for the economy, parents having to run around and prove the citizenship of their children. Again, I really want to know, the Supreme Court has to agree to take on a case. They don't take on every case that's presented to them. It's very limited. It's going to be heard in the spring with a decision made by the next summer. So this is going to be really interesting to see who argues this, how it's argued. And again, right now the scope is very narrow. But it's tied to the 14th Amendment, which has everything to do with formerly enslaved Africans.
May I also say one thing? I also want to point out.
Real quick, and I'll let you come in. Tulip says, "Hey, I want it gone, and I'm Mexican American." So, all right.
I do want to. Something that I've realized I feel is interesting though is how all of a sudden Somali Americans are like in the news being polarized. And I almost feel like maybe they're going to be they have to be presented as the antithesis, or I don't know, maybe I don't know if I'm using that word right. As this case ends up opening, you know, like I am worried. I like Nichelle. I think that is your whole name. I can only read Nichelle. How far back are they willing to go to strip people of citizenship if they are going to say that it is specifically just for people who are descendants of people who were enslaved? And so I am wondering if the risk of that is, okay, well, if you weren't a descendant of people who were enslaved, are you at risk of having your citizenship revoked?
I feel like, so just as the host, I feel like you're making the argument to not have this case be heard. I'll give you, listen, I'm just going to come in because I don't talk much.
No, I'm not 100% for birthright citizenship. I'm not 100% for it. But I just said I'm interested in the arguments. Maybe I'm just like, I just want to read arguments and then I'm like, oh, well, actually this may come with consequences. So I realize that, but I am interested in the argument.
I hear you, and I respect what you're saying, but a lot of y'all too damn trusting.
And maybe it's my privilege too, because I am African American. So maybe I'm sitting in privilege.
Let me finish though. A lot of y'all is way too trusting. Oh, we just gonna affect this group. Oh, it's just gonna affect this group. Oh, it's just gonna. Yeah. And then somebody like me, I can't get no trust, but I don't know. Let me go to Sandra.
About the government.
Go ahead, Sandra. Go ahead, fam. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hate to speak on. I hate to speak on other communities' history, but the whole reason why birthright citizenship was important was because they did not see Black people as full humans. They did not want to give them rights, whether or not they were enslaved or free. When we see shit like these conservative people, MAGA, whatever we want to call them, say that they want to dismantle DEIA, it's not because they believe that people should be hired off of merit. It's because in their stupid racist mind, they believed that Black people were the ones benefiting off of it, right? They didn't know that it was actually white women that were benefiting off of it, but they were willing to dismantle the whole program, even if they benefited the most, just to spite Black people. When they ruled that it was okay to racially profile people, they made people of color believe that this was just about immigrants. This was just about undocumented immigrants. What they did was set a precedence to allow for racial profiling to be legal again every time. And I know a lot of Latinos get mad when I say this. Yes, we are being affected right now. Yes, we are being targeted right now, but their goal is to fuck over the Black community. And unfortunately, a lot of people from both of our communities have taken on this position that as long as another community is a target, it is off of our backs. It is not. They are doing all of this. They have taken the jobs from undocumented immigrants, not because they were stealing quote unquote Black jobs. It was because they wanted to give them to white people. They are not going to get rid of birthright citizenship to only give it to Black people. They are going to take it away from everybody because that is their goal. These people are willing to die with student loans than give Black people college for free, because college was free before Black people started attending college, right? Now, real quick, Smitty, and I don't like to monologue, but I need to address the other guy that was up here.
Oh, Jobel. Jobel, go ahead.
Jovel.
Jobel, I don't know if you meant to drop. Sorry. Me and P and Pally Nutter got a running joke from the last live. But Joel, if you didn't mean to drop, feel free to re-request. And I will get two folks who do agree. Just give me a second. We got a little unbalanced panel, but we'll get it back balanced here in a second. Go ahead. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Latinos for Trump. Y'all went and got yourself the most ugliest, plainest 8x11 cottage cheese 1980 brow having ass white tea woman, and she brainwashed you into believing that color, there's no color. We're all colorblind. It doesn't exist. I don't understand you. You do not look white yourself. Tu foto que tienes ahí en tu profile, vergüenza, güey. Vergüenza, güey. You are never gonna fit in with them. Just because you found one white tea woman that liked to dance bachata, she's still talking shit about your people, and she convinced you to vote against the people that look like your mother, the people that look like your daughter, the people that look like your sister. They convinced you to throw away the ladder. That you climbed up here on and give away your rights. And again, bitch, you couldn't even get yourself an attractive white woman. You had to go find the ugliest white bitch, and that's what you sold our community out for. Dan vergüenza, and I pray that you come to my face and you try to call me mamita, because you would end up like East LA with 4 teeth in your entire mouth. Now land.
All right, let me go to Skara, and then I'm gonna recycle. Skara, first time fam. I've known you forever. I think this might be the first time you ever been up on a panel. How are you? What are your thoughts? Skara, are you there, fam? Final chance. You might have requested by accident, because I know you like to stay in the comments. So I'm gonna let you go unless you unmute here in 1 second. All right, we're gonna let you go. Okay. All right. So if you agree with the Supreme Court holding this case, put a 1 in the comments. If you're in the request, I want to get you over. Oh, we got T Sizzle back. He wants to come back. So we got T Sizzle. He agrees. If there's anybody else that does agree and you're in the request, put a 1 so I can bring you up. Oh, T Sizzle must have left. So we'll try to get somebody else up. I got 10 people in the request. I don't know if all of you guys agree. So if you agree, just put a 1 and you're in the comments. Then I can bring you up. I'm going to leave that last spot open. But without that, I'm going to bring up Scar real quick. Let's see. But again, if you agree, put a 1 and you're in the request. It's all 2s. I might let some of y'all up too. So we'll see how it goes. But I kind of prefer to have a debate if we can. Go ahead, Scar fam. How are you? What are your thoughts?
Okay, first of all, what was that dude? Okay, I think we all need to remember how there's something in every community. We all call it something, right? We have a name for people that wanna, be white, right? For us it's coconuts. It's coconuts. I just want to say, Smitty, I really appreciate your lives. I do, and I love hearing all of this. And you're always so chill. You know what I mean?
I try.
Aside, I see you try to hide your face, but damn, thank you for being such a. I don't know. I come here and I just listen. I take in whatever I fucking can. But with this shit, no. I don't agree with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because just out of plain morality, excluding, intelligence or, whatever degrees you have or, whatever the fuck, morality tells me that this is wrong. And I feel like, why are people going so far away from it? This fucking, supposed Latino, like, what even is Latino? You're white. Shut the fuck up. Hispanic, you're white. Shut the fuck up. If you don't know who you are, why are you speaking? You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. You want to be white so fucking bad. You know what I mean? You're never gonna. You're never gonna be white, bro. You're never gonna be white. That shit pisses me off so fucking bad, and it's embarrassing. I hate it. I hate seeing these people like, Smitty, I love you, but you just be like, oh no, let him talk. Smitty!
I hear you. I got to hold a balanced palate. You know my rules. I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you.
I'm not gonna lie. I love you for it.
Love you, fam. Love you, fam. Were you just coming up to say that?
And I came up to say that I fucking love you. I love your lives. I love being here. You are the most amazing host
thank you, fam.
that I ever came across. Love you so much. Bless you and your family.
All right. Love you. Thank you, fam.
Can I say this? I'm going to actually say this. As the court said, everybody in the U.S. who's already has citizenship, they are citizens, and even the legal, like if you're already in the U.S. physically, you can have citizenship. I'm okay with that. And then if they said, but after this date, if you're not here, I guess, legally, if you're not here legally, then if your parents aren't here legally, then, if your parents are on any sort of visa that's not a citizen, and citizens don't get visas. So if your parents aren't a citizen, you don't automatically get citizenship. I am okay with that. I guess I am just concerned with how far back they're willing to go if they strip citizenship. I'm okay with saying everybody that's a citizen now remains a citizen. And then if someone is born to parents that aren't citizens, then they don't get automatic citizenship. I think I can say that for myself.
So ladder pulling.
Yeah. Love you, Scar. Love you, fam. Thank you so much for that. That was really sweet. Go ahead, Carolina. I know you want to jump in, and then we'll work. And then Ebonics, I'll let you have a quick dialogue with Carolina. Then I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna get somebody else. Jermaine, what's going on, bro? Good to see you, man.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and.
Okay, I know. Yeah, you've been up here. Listen. Let me say something, fam. Thank you so much for all the time you spent here, because you were definitely up here for a minute, and I know you were you got a whole humongous platform to attend to.
I don't know about all that.
No, you do. Come on now, you do. I don't know if I'm sure most people know Erica here. So no. Thank you, fam. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, Smitty. Have a great day. Swan, Saj, like Carolina, it was so nice to meet you. You too, Nichelle. Y'all have a great day.
I'm follow, sis.
Thanks. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Erica.
Follow Erica. Oh, okay.
So what I'm trying to figure out from Ebonics here is, how does someone's status being legal or quote unquote unlegal, how does that impact your life, and why do you care? Because this is something, we've already stated the barriers of why people choose to immigrate here without the proper documentation, because they literally have no other choice. So how does that impact your life? And do you think the colonizers are going to pick you at the end of the day for siding with them on their white supremacist nationalist rhetoric?
Your thoughts, Ebonics, as to you.
Ebonics, are you with us?
I'm with you. I just don't. I may not just be with automatic birthright citizenship. Yeah.
No, so I don't know if you actually heard my question. How does a person's status in this country affect you directly? And why do you think that at the end of the day, the colonizers are going to pick you for siding with their white supremacist nationalist rhetoric?
I'm not interested in being picked by colonizers. So that
It kind of sounds like
I definitely know my answer to your second question. Now, I'm willing to have a dialogue with you about your first question. So I definitely do not care for whatever you implied in your second question. But as far as your first question, how does immigration affect me? I don't know how it affects me. So I'm willing to have a dialogue with you about that, and you can you can have the floor to tell me why I should not care about birthright citizenship being legal. Sure, but I'm willing to listen to you in a very unarrogant manner. But I will not be talked to like with an arrogant attitude like that.
Cool. So the reason why I framed
you can have the floor,
okay,
and you can explain that, and you can discuss that.
Bet. Okay, so the reason why I framed it like that is because this is white supremacist rhetoric. It's not me being accusatory. This is part of the Great Replacement theory, which is, as we all know, a white supremacist.
Go
ahead.
Ebonics, how old are you? You just gotta be careful with the line.
Oh, I'm 30 something.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right, go ahead. You can never tell.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the reason why I state that, the Great Replacement theory is a cornerstone of white supremacy. It's a conspiracy theory that black and brown people are out to, outnumber the white race. And that for some reason we have the magical ability to impact their birth rates, which is wild. However, this rhetoric on whether someone is in the country legally or illegally is part of that rhetoric. It's part of that theory. So that's why I framed it the way I did. It's not trying to insult you, but it's trying to help people understand that even as marginalized people, we can be susceptible to white supremacist rhetoric and engage in the marginalization of other marginalized people. And that's why I ask you how it directly impacts your life. Why, and again, I state this as someone who is an American Indian. I'm a citizen of my tribe before I'm a citizen of this country. My family has been here for thousands of years prior to the invasion of the unwashed colonizers. So I ask that because someone's status in this country has no impact on my life. And if we know that the United States Empire is destabilizing these countries, eliminating all of these possible quote unquote legal mechanisms for them to immigrate here, and they choose to immigrate here anyway in order to give an opportunity for their children to survive, why does that matter to you? And why are we not focused on the bigger issue at hand, which is white supremacy? You can answer.
Go ahead, Ebonics, and then I want to get Swan and Tisa's work in.
I feel like I have to assess my feelings about birthright citizenship. I don't think immigration necessarily has a negative impact on me. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm an indecisive voter. But I did not vote for that guy. I did vote for Kamala. But just the topic of birthright citizenship, maybe I should assess more if I feel like immigration doesn't really affect me negatively, then maybe I should reconsider why I would be why I have feelings against birthright citizenship, or why I'm okay with starting over if everyone can get, as long as it's not retroactive. But maybe I should dig into the idea of it's wrong even if it's not retroactive.
I'm not laughing at you.
I guess that I guess I can hear you saying I should be more aware if I am falling for white supremacist content.
Okay. Let me just say, Ebonics, thank you for coming up. I'm gonna let you go, but I always want to hear a balanced panel. So thank you so much.
I am not a child. I am. Can I
Well,
say
I'm
this?
sorry.
I swear I am not a child. Everyone's
No,
saying
wait.
I'm not.
I believe
I
you.
am definitely in my 30s.
I believe.
I have a small voice like Dr. Dre's ex.
Is
Okay, and it
Ebonics a
really
black?
hurts my feelings when y'all say that.
But wait, to that point though, is Ebonics a black woman? I'm sorry, is Ebonics a black woman?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just want to say to the chat, infantilizing a black
You
woman
still
is
gotta tell them
anti-black
what
as
you're
hell. Even if we disagree with what she said, it's not okay for y'all to sit here and tell this black woman that she's a child. Misinformed, yes, we can criticize what she's saying in this conversation, but y'all need to check your anti-blackness. And I've seen somebody in the comment section telling her to shut her BAS or ASS up, right? And that's not necessary. I understand that we disagree. I vehemently disagree with everything that she just said. And I have a lot of criticism, but the misogynoir is not okay. Y'all need to check yourselves. She's a woman. She's a black woman. She's not a child. She confirmed that.
100%. Thank you, Swan. Absolutely. All right, let's do this. Let me go. Go ahead, Swan. If you want to give me your opinion on this, and then I'll get T-Sizzle. But yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all know who I am when it comes to misogynoir. We can disagree with a black woman all day long, but that misogynoir does not need to be added into the criticism of the information that she's saying. But I did want to add, and I do disagree with what you said, Ebonics. Don't get me wrong. You're a black woman, but because you're a black woman, I need you to see it from a different perspective. I will say that. I think just to offer like a different perspective in this conversation is understanding that borders are rooted in white supremacy. Borders are something that it was created by Europeans. I think that we have definitely had instances throughout history globally where you see a group of people living in a particular place and they don't necessarily want their place, like where they've decided to just stay, right, or plant their feet, messed with, right? And yes, there has been tension and conflict and things like that. But when we take a look at what colonization has done to this entire planet, when we see that the heart of this entire planet, the continent of Africa, and what is happening to the continent of Africa, they showed up and they carved out different spaces for themselves, and they have been exploiting human beings and exploiting the continent for its resources. And the borders are truly a way that they've been able to do this and to perpetuate this. When we talk about like the United States, right, being they want it to be a predominantly YT nation. This is not a joke. I think that, and I say this to you, Ebonics, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. I've been around on TikTok for a long time, and I've been seeing conversations before Trump even got elected, where you have people with a swastika in the background, and they're saying we need to remove all black and brown people, legal or not. Right? This is 100% about white supremacy, like Adelina said. I think that we need to understand that whether you think that you're safe or not, if you are not a white person, this is a problem for all of us. This is a problem for all of us, no matter what state or city we're living in here in the United States. This is about whiteness remaining dominant, right? I think it's really, really, really important. There's a book about borders being rooted in white supremacy. And when I speak again, I'll give you the information on the book. But this is something that I need everybody to understand, is that this is about upholding whiteness, the great replacement theory, like Adelina said. When we take a look at the forums that have popped up online, where you have young white men just fantasizing about wanting to just eliminate and exterminate black and brown people, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. Our Congress is majority, our whole entire government is majority what? White men. They're going to make decisions that are going to benefit them. We got to keep it 100 with ourselves. And when we take a look at our timeline of history here in the United States, right? It's a very small amount of time that we've I wouldn't say we've been given like racial equity. I would not say that we've had racial equity, but there has been like some baby steps in progress. We're seeing all of that reverse. It's been less than a year. It's been less than a year. Like, this is a serious issue. This is a serious issue. Whether you are, no matter what your political ideology is, if you are not a white person, you are going to be negatively impacted by this. And it's important that people understand that. I'll give the information on the book when I speak again, but I just want people to know that borders And the enforcement of borders is rooted in white supremacy. And I'll just land there for now.
Thank you, fam. Thank you for the call out. That was very much needed. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you, Black Swan. Let me go to T Sizzle. Now I know you had come up and we lost you. Now you're back. But again, for the purposes of the people, actually, you know what? Even before you get started, let's do one final poll. This will probably be the last one of the live. If you are for the Supreme Court holding this case and potentially eliminating birthright citizenship, put a 1. If you are not, put a 2. This will be decided on, it looks like they're estimating June 2026. All right. So last poll of the day. All right, T Sizzle, go ahead, brother.
I think I thought I was being clear like the last time. Sorry, I dropped. But
no. You get just new people here. That's all. Just for them to hear your perspective.
Yeah. Borders are human. Humans have been doing that, not just one group.
I think that was a Swan's point.
Incorrect. We did not have borders prior to colonization.
Yeah, I can respond to him if
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Swan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the problem that you're not seeing, T Sizzle, is that yes, we understand that different groups of people have had their particular regions and where they are, right? But when we talk about firm borders, when we talk about putting barriers up at borders, when we talk about there being a process to you coming from or crossing over from one nation into another, that is rooted in white supremacy. This is how they have been able to remain dominant globally. Again, when we take, like Catalina just said that her family has been in this land for thousands of years, right? But we're seeing people who have also been in this land for thousands of years, right? We're seeing these people getting kicked out of, whether it's they're in the U.S. or whatever the case is, getting kicked out of from there. I'm so sorry. I'm still in the middle of speaking. I don't do well with people over talking. I don't do well with people over talking.
Let's let Swan finish, please. Go ahead, Swan. And then D Sizzle, I'll give you another opportunity. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is we're the fact that we're even sitting here debating this when there's a group of people that this land belongs to originally, but you have chosen to align yourself and your ideology with those that came here, that G-sided people, so many people that have quite literally cooled the temperature of the planet, people that will never see you as the same, people that will make sure you stay as a second-class citizen in comparison to them. Whether you want to accept that or not, that's what it is. When we talk about borders and the way that YT nations have gone into other places and the way that they violently enforce borders, the way that they will go into another land, destabilize their whole entire economy, infrastructure, and exploit their people, right? And then take all that wealth and all of those things that they've gained from doing so and harming them to their country, then have the nerve to say that these people are a problem. The way that white supremacists have gone about enforcing borders and citizenship is problematic to all people that are not white. Whether you want to accept it or not, it is.
All right. Jesus,
so much. Can I?
Okay.
Can I add
what
what
about Mexico?
I'm about to address
Mexico's
that.
way harder. What about Haiti and Dominican? Those aren't white people. And what about Mexico and their borders?
Oh, real quick, the whataboutism is not relevant. We're talking about the United States.
No, they're doing the same exact thing.
1 second. You asked a question, and I'm going to explain to you.
Haiti and Dominicans do the same exact thing that Haitians. Nigeria does it to Ghana.
We don't support that either.
But
oh my God!
They said it was white. They said it was white supremacy.
Quick. And also,
they said,
quick,
I'm sorry, YT. They said it was YT.
Can you do me a favor and can you Google what the president of Mexico and the president of DR look like? They're white. They're white. They are white Hispanics, not Afro-Latinos, not indigenous Latinos. They are white. They're Hispanic. Hispanics are white.
Here, I have a question for you too, Caroline. Now,
Carolina.
before,
yeah, go ahead.
Can I? So before the United States defeated Mexico, didn't Mexico defeat the Apaches?
Correct. So that's what I'm about to speak to you about.
Right. So what does America have to do with? They already lost to Mexico.
That's not actually, no, that is not entirely true. So first of all,
and then this is my second question. Let's say the United. Hold on.
Hold on, real quick, y'all. Both y'all. So let's go one at a time. So let's let Carolina respond to your first, and then I'll come back to you. I'll give you another opportunity, and then I do want to go to Risa. Okay, I want to go to Risa, but let me go one more exchange, and then we'll. So let's let Carolina respond, and then go back to you, and then we'll go to Risa.
So,
okay.
For starters, as an Apache woman, my tribe was the very last to surrender to the United States government. We never surrendered to Mexico, and my great-grandfather never surrendered at all. Okay, so let's get that straight real quick. I'm not one to mess with. We aren't no pushovers. Okay, so now moving on. This is exactly why this is relevant, because I'm going to give you the example of my family. So my family has been here for thousands of years. At one point, my tribe is located in Texas. We are a border tribe. That border did not used to be there. Prior to the invasion of any Europeans, it was just Apache land. Then the Spaniards invaded and it became New Spain. Then they formed the government of Mexico. Then it became the Republic of Texas. And then it became the United States. So this is what we're talking about, borders being inherently white supremacist. That border did not used to exist. My tribe is currently split in two. Half of our citizens live in Texas and half of our citizens live in Mexico. We have not changed our racial identity or our cultural identity. However, that border has literally crossed us. So that border is a tool of white supremacy. That is what we're talking about. You want to bring up other countries. Number one, we need to stay in the United States because we're not arguing birthright citizenship for other countries. But if you want to, once again, the president of Mexico, as are the majority of politicians in Mexico, are white. Hispanics are white. They're not the same as indigenous or Afro-Latinos. They are white. The president of DR is white. The presidents of a majority of these countries are white. So you're only making the argument for us when we talk about imperial borders being a tool of white supremacy.
The amendment was just for us. That was the intent. All these other groups have just taken advantage of it, just like they rolled on the backs of everything else we've done.
Oh, are you FBA? Are you FBA?
What's FBA?
Foundational Black American?
I'm not sure about everything that they I've heard different things.
Because you're giving.
I can't say. I may be and not know it, but I've heard different things about those people, so I'm not sure.
Okay, well, my final question to you is, do you care about the fact that white people are primarily the ones who hijacked the 14th Amendment and benefited from it and are the real anchor babies? But do you care about that, or do you only care about immigrants of color who seem to be the new problem?
All of them.
Okay. So can you maybe address white supremacy first before you come for other marginalized people?
Okay.
All of them.
Okay, let's let
I'm not gonna get an answer. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Carolina. Let's go to Risa. Risa, what are your thoughts, fam? Thank you for coming up. What do you think?
Hi. So I've been listening. This is my first time really here. Sitting on a live, and I just couldn't sit in the comments anymore. So first of all, when he was talking about, the indigenous people of this land, they were nomadic people. So when you talk about borders, there weren't any borders here. This all started from white supremacy. And second, you brought up Dominican Republic and Haiti. Do you understand about the ethnic cleansing that happened in the Dominican Republic under Trujillo? My husband is Dominican, and I married him, and we went down to Dominican Republic, and I've studied the history of Dominican Republic, and I'm raising 2 Dominican daughters. And how dare you come up here and talk about how these other people of color are the problem? They're not the problem. As a matter of fact, I just saw a girl on TikTok, and she got adopted by a family of no color, and she was searching for her roots, and she's from Honduras, and I've never seen an ancestry test that looked like this. It had one line on it. They could have sent that shit in an email. It said 100% indigenous. As far as I'm fucking concerned, as far as this birthright citizenship, they shouldn't touch the 14th Amendment. They should be trying to make it right, is what they should be doing. They should be trying to make it right.
All right.
And in my opinion, if they wouldn't want me up in Washington, because I get rid of all these damn borders, every single one of them, because this is stolen land. This is stolen land. Period.
Okay.
So the audacity of even coming up and saying that the brown people need to leave. Are you out of your fucking mind? I don't want to be caught up in. I don't want to be caught up in this shit. Y'all can do whatever you want to do and have all these issues and do this, that, and the third. But I don't want to be caught up in it because karma is real and that shit's gonna come back. You can't stop the browning of America. You can't stop the browning of the world. It's here. And the fact that you, as somebody black, wants to get rid of that, that's disgusting. I don't even associate with people like you. I'm done. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Risa. I will say this. I know Risa just dropped, but I hope this ain't the last time you come on a panel. Let's just put it that way. And
Please
then to
come
be the
through
first
more
time you came
often.
on,
I like him.
I feel kind of honored. I wish I could have told you that when you were up here. But Jesus, go ahead. Your response.
I said Nigeria and Ghana also. And in South Africa, they all there are places all over the world that enforce their borders. That do the same thing.
Let me go to Swan. Go ahead, Swan.
So the borders on the continent of Africa were joined by Europeans. We'd be talking about the Berlin Conference. No, you thought you ate bringing that one up, but you did not. The national language of Nigeria is English. Why? Because of Europeans. When we take a look at a lot of the places on the continent of Africa, they have European currency. They speak a European language. They practice an Abrahamic faith, depending on what we're talking about. More specifically, when we look at the west coast of the continent of Africa, it is because of Europeans. But we're going to take it back to the United States. Like I was saying before, White Borders, the history of race and immigration in the United States from Chinese Exclusion Act to the border wall. This is a book that was written by a woman named Reese Jones. And I need everybody to get hip. Y'all need to read this book because it explains how borders have been used by white society to uphold white dominance. And it is for every single thing that we are talking about here, right? When we talk about certain amendments and things like that, and the reason as to why they've been put in place, if we pay attention to what has been happening, right, the past couple of years, hearing the way that YT supremacists have been talking, wanting to, again, like I said, eliminate and exterminate Black and brown people from the United States, when whose land was this before they showed up? Like, this is, it's wild to me that you're not able to see this, T-Sizzle. It is beyond me. But that is the problem that we're seeing here. Right now, this is not even about, honestly, I don't even think this really has to do with, like, people who are citizens. This has 100% has to do, it's coded, right? This is about upholding white dominance, and this is about upholding white supremacy. You have white men crashing out on the internet. You had Charlie Kirk going from college campus to college campus to college campus, right? Telling people that they are being replaced. These people genuinely think that they're being replaced. When I hosted a topic on this on my panel, white men, are you being replaced? And every time they come up and they say it's the same talking points. The problem is immigration. The other problem is a decline in birth rates. Then they want to go into talking about LGBTQIA. And then they want to go into talking about people that want to come over here and take up their space in their land. When I'm telling you that it doesn't even matter if you are a citizen, if you are a part of a marginalized community, they will do whatever they need to do to you so that you don't take from them. And that is how they have been functioning ever since they left the caves. I just want to give the book title again because I know some people were asking about it, but it's White Borders, The History of Race and Immigration in the United States from Chinese Exclusion to the Border Wall, and it's by Reese Jones. I'll put the name of it all in the comment section so you guys can take a screenshot if you need to, but I'll end there for now.
Where are you from?
I just have a question for you.
Hold on, let me set the order.
Yeah.
Because T Sizzle, I'm gonna let T Sizzle respond. Risa's got to go, so I want to go back to Risa, and then.
So I'm from Wakanda.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's funny. But why? When you talk about the borders and specifically Africa, why haven't they reset their borders? Why do they still go by them?
I love Swan.
Why are we talking about other countries?
The reason, yeah, T-Sizzle, give me a follow, T-Sizzle. We could talk about that on my platform. I go live all the time.
But where are you from? I can hear your accent.
I was born in the United States.
No, you
I was born here in the United States. My mother's Puerto Rican. My father is a lineage to chattel slavery. But before chattel slavery, we recognize the fact that we have Nigerian ancestry, which I hold on very tightly to because that was taken from me. But yeah, I was born here in the United States.
I can hear your accent.
Why does that
An
matter?
accent. I don't have an accent.
Definitely doesn't.
But that's my question, because these comments get T-real. I have a question for you too, Sizzle. In response to like what the actual case is, the Supreme Court taking up this case, what is your argument? Because you keep saying that it was for us, and then you put in the comments that I guess they are taking advantage of that. Like, what? I don't know. What is your argument against the fact that Birthright Citizenship, Smitty, you know what? You're fired. What is your argument against the case being brought before the Supreme Court?
Listen, real quick before you answer that. Hold on, blue and green, sister. You on one. You on a historic run. Go ahead, T-Sizzle, your response, and I do want to let Risa go because Risa has to go. So go ahead.
It just needs to be clarified, and if they need to add something to it, add something to it. But right now, it needs to be clarified.
But
because for me, right now, the way that I read
it has been clarified.
the way that I read it, based upon what was going on at that time, it was just for us. And no, hold on. It was for anybody who was there at that time who isn't YT. So including the Chinese, including the natives.
No,
hold on. At that time.
Okay,
whoever wanted to be a part of it. So if you said you were part of another nation and you didn't want to be a part of, then okay, it doesn't apply to you.
That's not how precedence works, though. For 120, so okay,
I don't. So right, you say precedence, but the law needs to be clarified.
The law has been clarified. That's the point. He says the law has been clarified.
The reason we have a question now, just because they're precedent doesn't mean
No. See, this is what I mean when we go off on these tangents.
In my opinion.
Okay. There you go. That's a better way to frame that. But for the chat, that's not how courts work, right? That's why rulings are so incredibly important, right? Because once it's ruled once, right, there's your precedence, there's your marker, there's your baseline right there. So for 125 years, birthright citizenship has been interpreted that if you are born on American soil, with the exception if you were a foreign diplomat or I forget what the other reason is, then you are considered an American citizen. And that was tied originally to the 14th Amendment. So for 125 years, it has been interpreted that way. So I guess you're saying it needs to be clarified. It's been clarified.
In my opinion, it was based upon people already here. Not just like this is my opinion.
It's not an opinion.
Because I've seen Europeans pull up to the social services building pregnant.
Right.
I saw like 8 of them get out of a van.
Okay, but listen, here's the thing. It wasn't tied. It wasn't tied to a certain demographic. It wasn't tied. You're doing that. Wait, hold on. You're doing that, but it wasn't tied to a certain demographic. It doesn't say, oh, if you are of this demographic, you're. No, it wasn't tied to. Sorry, Smitty. Go ahead.
Hold on, because this is kind of starting to go way left. Let me let Risa come in because that can get a little.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm back. I had to come back up here because he had brought up Africa.
Go ahead.
And do you know anything about the Berlin Conference, T-Sizzle?
Yes.
Okay, so most of these places are still under that, like, a lot of those people who ruled during that time, like, they're still there.
I would argue they accept it.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible to say. That's disgusting.
That is disgusting to say, especially when most of these places are backed by the EU still.
I missed it. What happened?
China.
And China. I'm in Africa. I'm talking about Africa.
Hold on.
There's Chinese people there on the continent, but for instance, like when you look at South Africa, like they're just now starting to somewhat get their country back, and we're bringing people over here because they're so and so persecuted, which I don't understand. They could go back to Belgium if they wanted to. But I say that to say this, like, I don't want to ask how old you are, but you sound like you might be a little bit young, but I think that you should look into history a little bit more and how white supremacy has really taken over the entire globe. And maybe before you worry about decolonizing Africa, you should decolonize your mind.
Oh, girl, bars.
Real quick. Hold on. Let me come in. I missed what was said that folks are reacting to. But I'm gonna take the word for it that it was harmful. So T says I'm gonna let you go, brother.
Wait, Smitty, can you have him hold for just 1 second?
Okay,
I need to provide a historical point for him. Is that okay? Okay, I will be okay. So this again, when I come with stats, historical verifiable sources. Okay, so you can look at this study from Boston University, A Nation of White Immigrants. You can also look at alien land laws from the Densho Encyclopedia and the 14th Amendment from Immigration History. So when you were stating about opinion and it needs to be interpreted, no, we already know what happened. So the 14th Amendment, and this is we know what the 14th Amendment was originally for. We've already addressed that. But when it comes to white immigrants, it provided a foundation for immigrants, especially white ones, to gain rights through birthright citizenship. Their U.S. born children became citizens and equal protection. And direct land offers were through federal and state policies like the Homestead Act, encouraging white settlement, while the amendment aimed for equality. Discriminatory alien land laws later limited non-citizen land ownership for Asians, showing how immigrant groups experienced the 14th Amendment differently, often favoring white Europeans who could easily naturalize or whose children gained automatic citizenship. So this is the reason why I bring that up. It was very fucking clear from the get-go when they enacted the 14th Amendment how they were going to utilize it to benefit whiteness and to promote whiteness. By utilizing the 14th Amendment, they encouraged white immigrants to come over here, offered them land allotments, and in sometimes money to be able to have anchor babies. So we don't need to reinterpret the amendment. They were very fucking clear about what they were doing with it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. MLK actually spoke about that. And that's why he was really unalived, because he spoke about the famous line where he said, we come next time we go to Washington, D.C., we coming to get our check. And then did you know, do you remember that speech, Smitty?
Yes, and not only do I agree with it,
right. I'm familiar with what you're talking
the
about.
fact that you don't understand the 14th Amendment and how white people benefit from it.
Okay.
I never said I didn't.
All right, T says, brother, I'm gonna let you go. All right, let me go. I am looking for two people that want to come up and support the idea that Supreme Court is potentially agreeing to hold this case, or actually has agreed to hold this case, with the verdict on this case coming out in June 2026. So again, I know we've got folks that want to come up that do not, fortunately or unfortunately for us, we've got four incredible panelists that already are up here that I'm not letting go unless they want to go, that are ready to debate. So if you do feel like the Supreme Court should listen to this case, we had quite a few, Kicks. We had quite a few people here earlier. I would love to have you come back up. If not, I'm just going to tee up some questions for the four panelists up here. If you don't feel comfortable, you want to put stuff in the comments, that's fine, right? Just be respectful, and I will tee that up to the panelists. But I do want to try at least one more time before I go to have another debate with folks that are in favor of birthright citizenship potentially being reversed. So I think Sajid, fam, I think it's been the longest since you have spoken, so feel free if you want to come in.
It's just we are not protecting our communities by trying to other ourselves from our own communities. And maybe I'm just hot because all day we've been dealing with people from our communities, from marginalized communities, that are just repeating white supremacist talking points. And I don't understand it. I don't. When did it become easier to attack one another than to go after them? These people are literally in a panic right now, like Carolina was talking about, because they believe and they know that by 2050, the majority of this country is going to be brown. Right? Because when you mix white with white, all you get is blue. Okay? You get the Whitakers. That's what you get from trying to keep their race pure. You get the Whitakers. So I don't understand why we are helping. And I'm talking too, like, I have no patience for the Latinos for Trump. Okay, for the ladder pullers, for the misogynists, for the racists. I think we need our very own Mexican Harriet Tubman. We do. Because they have said loud and clear they were willing to sell their people, and they come up on these apps and they spew rhetoric that is harmful because words are violence. The words that they spew out, the misinformation and disinformation that they spew are the same reasons that these white supremacists or white mediocre people use when they justify unaliving our own. You cannot say that you're pro Mexican or pro anybody when your entire page is focused on shitting on another marginalized community. We have enough stuff to talk about, enough stuff that our communities are going through. Focus on that. That's what I cannot stand. You're sitting there saying, "Oh, let's do it the right way." But your ass doesn't even know how your family got here. You don't know that your family had to do it. And I'm just going to end it with this. I have 4 kids. I will do anything and everything for my kids to have a safe life. I would walk through an entire forest. I would swim across an entire ocean, climb 20 freaking walls. If that meant my kids were going to be fed, if that meant my kids were going to be safe, if that meant my kids could have an education. So for people to say that they don't understand why people are coming to this country after America is solely responsible for destabilizing their countries and bringing war and destruction and G-sides, I don't get you.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Swan.
I was gonna say, I think even though like it's I mean he's not here anymore, but just to correct what was stated, it was T Sizzle had spoken on the fact that on the continent of Africa, because Risa had brought up the fact that the borders were created by Europeans and that they are still exploiting people there today. He said, well, I feel as though they've accepted it. And I think that the problem with saying things like that is that that same logic could be used and is used against us by white society here in the United States. People constantly say things like, you know, you're the reason for why you're dealing with the things that you're dealing with, while actively participating in upholding the very things that do keep us marginalized and keep us disenfranchised here in the United States as people that are not white. But I did want to make sure people also were able to get the book title. So it's White Borders, The History of Race and Immigration by Reese Jones. I can drop it in the comments section again, just so y'all can. Sorry?
Somebody pin it? I was going to say, can somebody pin it in the comments for her when she drops it in there to make it easier for people to see?
Yeah, you can't pin it when there's multiple guests on a panel, sis.
Okay.
Really?
I just dropped it down, but it goes into detail explaining like it contends that immigration crackdowns are not just about economic concerns, but are fundamentally about preserving a racial hierarchy and the concept of whiteness. It talks about immigration policy, starting with the dual foundation of open immigration for Northern Europeans. This is exactly what everybody up here has been saying, and the exclusion of others, such as enslaved Africans and people who are indigenous. It talks about specific policies, including the Chinese Exclusion Act and the construction of the border wall. And then they also make connections between immigration policy and then broader issues of race, white supremacy, and then creation of the United States itself. And then so I think it's something that everybody should read. I definitely think it's something that everybody should read. I just need people to understand that borders are rooted in white supremacy. All of the amendments are rooted in white supremacy. Like for Black people that are like hinging on the fact that the 14th Amendment was for people who were enslaved, I would also encourage you to think about the impact of the 13th Amendment, because the 13th Amendment still has us in chains, but everybody believes that that was something that freed us, and it wasn't. It wasn't. People really need to do their research, and they really need to understand their history. And if you are not a white person, then you need to understand that the policies, laws, and everything here was not created and rooted to save you in any way, shape, or form. It was so that they can continue to have white dominance, and that is what the fear is right now. Again, you've got teenagers, young white teenagers on the internet talking about wanting to exterminate people who are not white from this country. People openly saying that this country should be a Christian and it should be a white nation, and that everybody else needs to go no matter what your circumstances are. This is how they're thinking. And I think that people like T Sizzle need to be more realistic when it comes to these conversations. And I see Dave in the comments too. I think you should request up so we could talk about this, because I see your comments.
Absolutely. Yes, please feel free to request if you do have a dissenting opinion. Now we have 375 people. Please tap the screen. We're at 136,000 likes. We should be way higher than that given the amount of time we've been talking and discussing this. All right, we got Dave to come up. Dave, what are your thoughts? I didn't get to see what you were saying in the comments, so I have no idea what. But it sounds like you maybe had a dissenting opinion. Well, go ahead, brother. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, yeah, I don't really I'm sorry. Well, first of all, let me actually read the top. So, Supreme Court agrees to decide if Trump may end birthright citizenship. I personally don't really take an issue with birthright citizenship. It's a thing that exists in a lot of countries. I think countries have the obligation to put their citizens first and the interests of their people first, and I don't think that has anything to do with race.
Okay.
What was question about his comment? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
So in the comments, you were talking about Sureños siding with Yahtzees or skinheads or whatever. Can I ask you, have you ever been to prison?
I've never been, but I know lots of people from Los Angeles. They talk about the racism that's prominent out there towards black people.
Hold on. I want them. Hold on. Okay. Have you ever been affiliated with any type of a set? And you don't have to answer if they don't incriminate you, but I'm just curious.
No, I myself have never been gang affiliated.
Okay. Well, take it as someone who did grow up in that life. This is largely exaggerated. While there are small subsets where that does happen, the prison industrial in the prison industrial complex, it's extremely segregated on every route. And no, they do not often do that. However, that is not indicative of what the majority of Black and brown or Latino or immigrant or whatever the case may be operates within this country. That's just not how the real world works. The prison system is a microcosm. So it's really not, and not only that, the racial segregation that exists in California, it does not mimic the rest of the country. So what I can tell you, like I live in Indianapolis, our hoods are very Black and brown. You pull out any yearbook from any school of any hood over here, and it is almost straight down the middle, Black and Latino, okay? And so I say that because we cannot use these anecdotal, very specific instances to try to relate to the rest of the country or what is going on in our society. So I just would caution you against using that rhetoric, especially not being somebody who has come from street life or the prison system.
Well, okay. So I myself, I'm not gang affiliated. I've never been incarcerated, right? And I know that there are several situations like where racism regularly happens towards Black people out there in California. And it really goes beyond, California alone, but it gets really deep into the fabric of Latin America. Latin America is very colorist, it's very anti-Black.
And anti-indigenous as well.
Right, it's both.
Correct.
But the issue is that a lot of the indigenous people, even from Latin America, they align themselves with whiteness.
That is not true. So real quick, we have to be very specific. Indigenous is a political identity. Okay, there are indigenous groups on every continent. So being racially Amerindian, but being absorbed into the mestizo class system is very different than being indigenous. Not all people are automatically indigenous. If they're not connected to their community, they are by definition not indigenous. They can still be racially Amerindian. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's their race. But that does not mean they are indigenous. And I work as an indigenous person myself, as a citizen of my community, and as a cultural anthropologist who has worked with indigenous communities in various parts of the Americas. I can tell you that in indigenous communities themselves, no. This idea of aligning with whiteness, absolutely wrong. They more often align with the Afro-Latino population of their country because they are facing the same atrocities. Now, when you're talking about people here, most of those people aren't immigrants, Papa. Most of those people have already been embedded into the fabric of this country. And just like Black Americans are susceptible to nationalism and xenophobia and anti-indigeneity, those people are susceptible to xenophobia and anti-indigeneity and anti-Blackness. So all of those exist, but one should never be justifiable for the other.
No, like I'm not just okay. Like so, like I don't disagree with what you're saying about the political, difference between being like indigenous and you know what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying I disagree with that. But what I am saying is that a lot of people, they are aware of the fact that they have the Amerindian ancestry, and so what they'll do is that like when they come here, when the white T man here is against them, they'll be like, oh, like we need to stand up for brown pride, and then like when it comes to Black people, they want to be racist to us. I see this all the time.
But the idea that this is the majority of the community is simply false. And so we have to be able to call it out, but we also have to call out xenophobia on all sides. We have to call out all of it. We can't just sit there and isolate and pick one thing.
But I mean, they don't stand up for us. I mean, they only want to be on this black and brown stuff when it's beneficial to push their agenda.
Saying they in general.
Hold on, real quick. Let's
because anti-blackness is deep in Latin community, and it don't matter.
Deep in America.
So real quick, I don't. Well, let me let Black Swan come in. Go ahead, Swan.
Yeah, I think that's something, and this is something that I've been seeing. If we were just talking about Black people specifically, this is something that I've been seeing play out ever since Tariq Nasheed has been given a platform, is this separation of people that look like us here in the United States, dependent on whatever country they come from, or if they're born here, or if they have a lineage to chattel slavery. All of that division is caused and rooted in white supremacy, and you see it in every single group of people that is not white. All of us are susceptible to it. I'll hear people talk about people that are FBA and say, they're this, they're that, and the third, and whatever. Or FBA will say things like, well, we got migrants coming over here, Black people coming over here from the continent, and they're going to side with the oppressor and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, hold up now, because I don't hear you checking nobody like Jeff Mead. What are your thoughts on OSA? What are your thoughts on the Black people that are here, citizens of this country, that would be considered FBA, that have a lineage to chattel slavery? Y'all don't have no smoke for them. This is the problem. When we continue to play into that division, it is always going to give white society or keep white society dominant. And we have to understand that is the issue, right? The only thing for me that I would measure, the only measurement that I have when it comes to people understanding like what our issues are and what we're dealing with and what they need to align themselves with, is if you are upholding whiteness and white supremacy, then you are a danger to people that are not white. You're even a danger to white people as well. White people that are upholding white supremacy, they're a danger to themselves as well. But what I'm getting at is more so people that are not white. If you are going to align yourself with white supremacist talking points and ideology, then you're a problem. It doesn't matter if you come here from another country. It doesn't matter to me if you are a citizen here or not. All us playing into all of that division gives them exactly what they want. The conversation has gone in so many different directions because you have people accusing other people of this, that, and the third. This is what the Black Cabinet Education, shout out to him, adore him in his content. This is what he would call last place anxiety. They have found a way to weaponize us against each other, right? Because if we are fighting each other, then we're not going to bring any smoke to him. Now, when it comes to FBA, my issue with them has always been, right? Because I understand the need to preserve African American culture. I understand that. But the xenophobia is so problematic. They've gotten to the point of saying that, well, I would side with white people before I would side with Black people from another country. What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense at all. And that's what I hear, like in this conversation. I'm hearing people who are not white arguing against each other's humanity, and people don't even realize that the things that they're saying about people that look like them are the very things that white people are saying about them. And I think that that's something that we need to pay attention to. This division does not benefit anybody. It doesn't even benefit white people. They don't realize it doesn't even benefit them, right? You got white men that actually want to unalive us because they think that they are disappearing. But every single time I get one of them on my platform and ask them, what's causing this disappearance? Who put these policies in place, right? Who's the ones that are responsible for making a lot of these decisions? It's them. There is no outside force that is causing them to disappear. This is, again, right? All of this leads back into whiteness being upheld. And everybody has to understand, even white people, that if you continue to align yourself with upholding whiteness and white supremacy, then none of us are going to be okay. None of us are going to be okay. And I need people to understand that.
Have you ever been to East Los Angeles?
Sorry?
Did I just say you're from Miami in the comments?
Yeah, I am from Miami, but I've been to I have family in California, so I've spent significant time there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been.
So Dave, what was the question? I didn't hear the question.
No, I was asking her if she's ever been to East Los Angeles.
Oh, East LA.
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah. Black people have historically been like not even welcome to go out there.
So real quick, I agree with you. Hold up. I have an issue with that. As somebody who is so again, I'm American Indian. I'm enrolled in my U.S. tribe, and I'm also from a tribe in Mexico. But I'm indigenous. I'm not Hispanic. So I grew up in the Midwest. I've only grown up in black and brown spaces. We don't really have that issue out here. I mean, like, you can ask anybody out here. We don't have that issue in Indianapolis. Like, it's very rare. However, I will say, I'll agree. Chicanos on this app, especially from California, have like pissed me clean the fuck off with their anti-blackness, especially as a mother of Afro-Indigenous children. I will give you that. I have also seen the xenophobia and so I will. This is what happens when people of color are utilized by the powers that be as agents and tools of white supremacy against each other. It happens. I'm not excusing it. All of it has to be addressed. We also have to remember that not all Latinos are Hispanic. Not all Latinos are people of color. Hispanics are white Latinos. So like they get thrown into the mix also. Then you have people who have that proximity to whiteness. Like I was saying, it's not about them having American Indian roots. Some of them have black roots, but they have become absorbed into the mestizo class, which is a social category. And so that we have to be able to address that. This happens in all communities of color, and we do need to talk about it. That's 100% true, but we can't talk about it without being honest that it is rooted in white supremacy. And that's what Swan was trying to explain to you. The root of it is white supremacy. Nationalism is a tenet of white supremacy. Okay, xenophobia is, anti-blackness is, anti-indigeneity. All of it is.
Yeah, let me jump in because obviously my username is SoCal Smitty. And I've been, as you can see, with the Grays around and born and raised in LA. And so I want to offer. It's not a different perspective, Dave. Certainly, I agree with you. There are parts of LA that, if you're black, you might have a problem. I'm not gonna lie. Harbor City is another place where, you might have a problem. Wilmington, you might have a problem. East LA, you might have a problem. But I think we got to look deeper and we got to go back into history, at least from my perspective, and describe the entire story of mostly Mexican migration into Southern California and what happened, right? Because when I grew up in the 80s. And LA was obviously it was a white city, but then beyond white folks, it was black folks mostly. And then we had Mexican folks migrating into LA and stuff like that. And what Carolina and Swan are talking about is exactly what happened. You had a lot of messaging, right? As black people were losing jobs, as the crack epidemic came in and all of that stuff happened, it was being weaponized. And everything that we were going through that was bad was because of the Mexicans. It was the Mexicans this, the Mexicans this, the Mexicans that, the Mexicans this. And so when the hoods were majority black, there was a lot of backlash towards the quote unquote Mexicans coming into LA in the 80s, right? And so then what happened was, then LA became a majority Latino city in the 90s and in the 2000s, and then you had a backlash, right, from those same people and the children of those same people towards black people. And so what we got to hopefully try to do is try to resolve what happened between the two groups and understand why it happened. So I'm definitely not disagreeing with you, but it's more to it, because when, again, there was a big population growth from Mexican folks and other folks from Latin America into LA, as black people, we didn't treat them, we were not welcoming with open arms. We were not very welcoming, at least some of us weren't. And so again, what happened was a backlash back towards us, which I don't agree with either way. I think that we got to, at some point, recognize what happened and then try to heal, right? And try to come together. Because yes, I agree with you. There's parts of LA, it can be a problem, right? And like Catalina said, there are people, creators that are on here that the anti-blackness is very obvious, right? But it's a larger story, and as somebody who's been in Southern California again for 40 some years, here in LA, I know how this all kind of came about. It's not just one side or another. It was definitely a plot to turn the two groups against each other, because in this city, if the two groups were aligned, oh my gosh. And same thing with the country. So
Sorry.
Yeah, and then just real quick, I see people saying LA is different than other parts of California. That's very true. I think the Bay Area is a lot more unified overall. I don't think the Bay Area ever really had the issues that LA had. And then you got other parts of, Texas and Arizona that could be very different too. I'm just solely speaking of LA, right? My experience in the Bay Area is that it's always been a lot more aligned. But go ahead, Swan, go ahead.
Just wanted to say, I'm looking in the comments section, and I think this is interesting. And I don't say this to shame anybody in any way, shape, or form, but I do see a lot of people curious about the things that myself, Catalina, and Smitty are saying. And this is the type of history that we have to re-educate ourselves with, knowing and understanding. But I also want to, when I say that we need to remain focused on what the issue is, sometimes the disagreements that we have are us trying to combat symptoms of a much bigger issue. So I think for me, my perspective is always going to be that we need to understand what the root of the problem is. And I think that the reason why it's so hard for us to focus on the root sometimes is because of how we've been indoctrinated. It's because of how we've been socialized. And then I think a huge issue that we're dealing with right now in society is the fact that T-Sizzle, leave Nigeria and Ghana alone, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. But the problem here, though, right now is that it's the fact that there is a lot of misinformation online, and people are not turning their phones off. I'm seeing young black men parrot everything that Charlie Kirk said. And I'm thinking to myself, young man, you are saying everything that is against you. You are believing in things coming from a group of people that don't even want to see your existence. And it's really sad and unfortunate. But the problem is people are lacking history, true history. People are lacking the ability to think critically about things. People also are lacking media literacy. You got people going into, falling for posts that are AI. You got people falling for stories that are AI. You got people looking to, there's memes that are being put out on X. I think that this is why we keep hearing things like, non-white people have a very low IQ. If you ever look into Garrison Hayes, I'll drop his name in the comments section. He's a content creator. He's a black man. He's been talking about Elon Musk having X and the people talking about race science and things like that. And it's not only on X, but it's deeply embedded on TikTok. It's on Facebook. It's everywhere. And then they also have their hidden forums that they speak in online as well. So I'm just trying to say that we need to stay focused on what the root of these issues are. And we need to understand that sometimes us combating each other is that last place anxiety. And that's going to keep us where we are. If we want to be able to get out of this and to understand how to combat this and deal with this, then we need to focus on the root of the issue. I'll just end there for now.
No, I appreciate you, Swan. And let me go to, and again, I think, listen, I think what Dave is bringing up, and I saw some other folks, I think this is good. I think we need to talk about everybody's reality, right? Whether it's a black person or another person of color, indigenous, Latino, whatever it may be, because his reality is his reality. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out in the open. Let's have those uncomfortable conversations, and then maybe we can see if we can get somewhere. But if we don't talk to folks, I think David's coming with a genuine perspective. We may not agree with everything he's saying, but he's coming with a genuine perspective, and so we got to be able to talk about it and get it out and at least offer other nuances to the story. But we can't just dismiss what he's saying, right? Let me go to oh my goodness, my brother James Baldwin's rage. Let me. I definitely want to hear what you got to say about this Supreme Court decision. Go ahead, fam.
Well, hey, Smitty.
Good to have you, fam. How you doing, by the way?
This week tested me. This week tested me.
Look at Nichelle says she's dropping already.
I ain't gonna mess with Nichelle today. This week has tested me. Oh, but the scripture in the book of Job says he knows the way that I take. Hey, glory. All right. So first, on the topic of birthrights and citizenship, I think it is, I've used this term quite a bit up here, stare decisis. This decision has been made. It is a settled matter and piece of law. The Constitution very deliberately indicates what it means as it relates to birthright citizenship. And so I find myself troubled by the attempt of the court to do this, but the only purpose for it is to dilute voting power amongst a group of people, to then try to go and steal away the citizenship of people that from people that have gotten it over years, right? Like decades. So that's the first thing. I do think in fairness to all of us, that we have to contend with the anti-Blackness that exists in this country. And that is not just from Latino voters. That is from Indian voters. That is from South Asian voters. There is a problem with anti-Blackness because people perceive themselves to be better than Black people because they've been conditioned to believe it. And if our circumstances is bad, that's okay as long as theirs aren't. With that being said, multiple things can be true at the same time, and nuance, I think, is going to be the unaliving of democracy, the lack of nuance, rather. To be fair, the people that are being deported aren't voters. They're not people that are voting. We've got to deal with the folks that folks are giggling and being like, oh, well, I don't care. Those people aren't voters. People that look like them may have said or done some things. But that same bigoted logic is the logic adopted by people on the right. To suggest because people look like some other people that they have the same mindset is bigoted, it is small-minded, and it's offensive. And I'll land my plane here because I feel like I'm slow talking today, but I will land my plane here. There are people who claim to be Christian that, and I'm talking directly to Christians. If you're not Christian, I respect your right to engage in whatever religious practice that you have. If you are comfortable celebrating the unfortunate circumstances of other people, or even opining on it as a way to be petty, the scripture says, If I have not love, I am a noisy gong or cymbal. I may have faith to move mountains, but if I have love, I am nothing. And I am disturbed by people. You may not care, but if you don't care, you wouldn't say anything. If you're posting about it, you're gloating, and that's not the same thing as not caring. That is intentional attempts at trying to make people small, and the people that you are doing it with are not voters.
Let me just say this. This panel has been incredible today. I hope y'all taking notes. I hope y'all are taking this in. I hope y'all continue to tap the screen. Please, please, please. If y'all don't mind gifting some of these panelists, if you can gift them. No need to gift me at all, so don't worry about me. But it's people putting in some massive amounts of emotional labor. Please, let's reward them for that. There is a lot of knowledge being shared. And so this emotional labor should be rewarded however you can reward, whether it's a follow, whether it's a DM saying thank you or whatever, however you want to reward it. I would encourage all of us to do that because this is a very important discussion. So with that being said, I'm going to go to my brother Jermaine. How you doing, brother? Talk to me how you feel about birthright citizenship. Then I have a final question for the panel. Freedom Fighter Kwame, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Love your name, by the way. Love your name. Love your name. Love that Ashanti name you got there, brother. Go ahead, Jermaine. What are your thoughts?
Smitty, what's going on? I know I was on your live earlier. I caught you during my planning period, so I was like, let me tap in real quick at work. But nah, man, like I was like this week. Well, this month has been like, not this month, bro. I guess November has been kind of crazy. Well, mainly this week, I feel like a lot has been going on. For a lot of transparency, I am a teacher here in Atlanta. So early in November, around mid-November, one of my students was unalived by her mom. It was kind of gained a lot of traction. So yesterday was her, memorial service. Her name was Genesis, a young black girl. She had like these little pigtails, but so it's been a lot. And this week, just yesterday, the Atlanta City Council voted to close some schools in the city that are in predominantly black neighborhoods and black communities. So I'm talking about, man, it's crazy out here. But I kind of just wanted to tap into this birthright citizenship thing. And it's really at the end of the day, it's kind of like to preserve whiteness, right? It's to maintain the hegemonic whiteness. And because they feel, I always say, whenever this system or any system, but mainly here, feels like it's losing its grip, they always find a way to tighten it. And that's through laws and through the Supreme Court. They're going to find any kind of way to tighten that grip of to preserve colonialism, capitalism, all of it. So they're willing to go, and they're doing it through the quote-unquote legal system. It's not legal to us. We always feel like it's illegal. So they go through these many different laws. And who they always depend on is the Supreme Court. When in doubt, they can always, whether they're the Democrats or they can always depend on the Supreme Court. And sometimes they don't, but to make those kind of rulings. And if we really think about it though, Smitty and everybody on the panel, the SC has a long history of doing undemocratic shit. Like from its birth, its very existence, it has been doing undemocratic shit, from racial issues to environmental issues, the healthcare issues, all of it. That's what they do. And now, we all have, in this present, they have the cameras and everything and the media to everything to actually watch this repeat of history doing what America's has been, what they have been doing. So I also think for anybody, if anybody haven't read, I know there was a conversation with the other guy here earlier, and he was talking about borders in Africa, and the brother needs to be really politically educated. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney is a great book for anybody who haven't read it yet. And that's kind of how I started my political, conscious, and and also just me being black. I was growing up in the city of Atlanta, but how I further sharpened it, I read How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. He kind of talks about it. So, it's just to preserve that. And then I would say, they, Like even like here in the city, city of Atlanta is like everything they're doing is by law, through the eyes of the law. For even here, now we're talking about parents have to have to maneuver their own lives, black parents, to put their kids in white schools that'll be in white upper neighborhoods. So again, what the system does, they rely on the courts and the system, because they feel that if we can do that, they can do that, then we can't do anything about it. But again, we really have to challenge we have to challenge all different levels, from the local, federal to the actual Supreme Court, because I always say, like, the government, they hide behind these 9 unelected judges. Unelected, which is kind of crazy. Not the fact that the Supreme Court shouldn't even exist, but they shouldn't even serve a lifetime. Lifetime appointment is diabolical as hell. If we think about it, and Smitty, they hold on to that lifetime seat until they own that last breath. I'm talking about they hold on to it. So I just wanted to kind of make that comment. Like, it's what they do. When they feel like they're losing that grip, they squeeze it and they tighten it even more. But I think it's also the further they keep tightening, the further we do keep pushing back, and we just gotta keep pushing back, really, at the end of the day. So
Okay.
I know James said he disagreed, but he can I was curious to know what kind of specifically he disagrees with. But yeah, I just want to kind of make that comment.
No, absolutely.
Whenever they feel like they're losing that power.
I don't know where you at, but I know you're not in LA. So I don't know how you knew exactly the question I was going to ask. What was the name of that book? And you put it right in the chat. Thank you for that, fam. Go ahead, Brother James. I know you want to respond.
Yeah, so I'm going to say something that I was going to say first and then go to Jermaine's comment. Let me say that we are in the position that we're in because white saviorism. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, step your toes back if you're a white woman or feminist, because this is about to sting. Ruth Bader Ginsburg created this scenario by refusing to get off that court when we had control of the Senate. We had 60 votes in the Senate, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who had had cancer twice already, refused to give up. The President of the United States at the time, Barack Obama, met with her in her privilege, and she refused to resign. If you want to go look it up yourself, but she refused to resign and single-handedly created the domino effect that has created the situation that exists on the Supreme Court. Absent that saviorism that she engaged in, we would not be in the situation that we're in now. And people are going to say, oh no, yes, during Obama's first term, we controlled the Senate. During his second term, we did not. Wasn't that when she died? I think that's when she died. Or Scalia died. Scalia died first and then she died during Trump's first term.
Fact checkers chat.
Yeah, I think that's the correct sequence of events. But if somebody's here and can look it up, put it in the chat. I think Scalia died in the end of Obama's term, and they refused to appoint a person. But then she died during Trump's first term. And it created the situation whereby Now, I'm going to go back to Jermaine's point and this thought that the Supreme Court should not have lifetime appointments. I disagree, and here's why. You don't want a court that is beholden to political whims. You do not want a court that is making a decision based on reappointment every 10 years, right? Because it sets a very, very dangerous precedent. I'm going to say to you, we ended up in the senators who are out of control because we refused to vote. Amy Coney Barrett would never, 10 years ago, have been appointed to the United States Supreme Court, nor would Brett Kavanaugh. nor would not, I'll go back 15, 20 years. They would have never been appointed because of how hostile their views are. The typical is to have justices that are mid left, mid right, and in between. We have created a scenario where we have justices that are being appointed and approved because there are senators who are willing to accept them. And we have to do a better job of mobilizing in our own communities our people to vote. There are several states, I've said this on this panel several times, where if we actually voted, we would be in a better position. First state, Mississippi. Most per capita black people in the country. Second, Louisiana. Second most black people per capita in the country. Third, Alabama. Like the list goes on and on. And I think third is Georgia and fourth is Alabama. But notwithstanding that, we don't do the work. And by we, I should put some of this onus on the party. The party only comes to knock on the doors of black people when it's election time and forget about us during the off years, which is why we have a significant problem. And that is further expressed by the issue we have with Ken Martin and his perpetual whining. So I just say, and that's a very long answer, but I just want to say, like, you don't want a Supreme Court that is beholden to political whims because then they will start making political decisions. If they're appointed for life, they are more apt to be fair. And in fairness, this court is not bad as it could be. I just want to be clear. They have ruled against him. There are instances that they have ruled against him. Have they ruled against him as much as I would like, or as much as I think the Constitution will call for? No. However, they have ruled against him, and they have held back on some of the more crazy insinuations that his administration has tried to make. And so we have to be cognizant that just because it's bad does not mean it's worse.
Let me ask you a question, though, to what you just said, and then I know, Nichelle, you want to come in, to the point that you're making about Democrats and not caring about black people, and probably, I'm sure you probably would agree, people of color, after an election and then coming back when they need votes. Is it that the party is forgetting, or is it, I think, and it could be both, right? So your answer could be both. Yes and yes, right? Is it that they forget, or is it that this Democratic Party has a problem, to me, amplifying the voices of black women and women of color? Because I feel like it's both. Rashida Tlaib, they hide her. Ruha Roman, my mutual on here that's running for governor of Georgia, they hide her, right? They hide AOC, they hide Jasmine Crockett, Summer Lee, Cori Bush. Is it that too, or is that more, or is it just that they don't care? What do you think?
I think that it is that they have become expectant on us to do what they want, and by and find Stacey Abrams and beg her for the formula she used in Georgia. Because I would remind everybody here that she was able to elect a black man and a Jewish man in the South in the United States. We have a formula for success, and so I think we have an obligation to push, but we also need to be mindful of our elected officials. They are not meant, which is why members of Congress are elected every 2 years. We need to become more cognizant about policing the people that represent us. And I would use Cori Bush as an example. She stood for most of what many of us stand for. But when it came time for it, nobody protected Cori Bush or Jamal. We are easily trapped and confused by false commentary emanating from the news, when in all actuality we should be relying on news sources that represent us. And the big thing for me right now is CNN, MSNBC. None of those news agencies do that on our behalf. We used to have BET, and and we don't anymore. And there are not many black news organizations. And just to be fair, the algorithm is not kind to black political creators. And I'm going to go a step further, and this is going to piss some people off, but I'm going to say it. And I want you to hear me say that this is my opinion. It is not Smitty's or anybody on this panel. I am always amazed by the creators that the algorithm is kind to, because I hear some of the most violently stupid commentary coming from them. And that is not just the black or brown creators with large platforms. That includes the white ones, the Deans and Parkers of the world, who are just talking and stirring the pot and fomenting drama polytalk, but not engaging in the thoughtful conversations that happen places like your panel. Because we are having a conversation.
Well, you talk about a live that I think has turned into something that is a very, very impactful discussion. I've always felt, listen, I'm going to go a little bit behind the scenes. I've always felt that there should be a lot more coordination between black content creators and content creators of color in regards to what we cover and, and how we do it, so we're not necessarily competing, right? That we're, to your point, able to amplify what's going on. I mean, I'm always amazed at so many people that will be like, Smitty, you're the only one talking about, like this birthright citizenship, or Smitty, you're the only one talking about colorism or whatever, like just topics that I think I'm shocked. Like, I'm really surprised. Why is it just me? Or why is it just, Swan? Or why is it just certain folks that, because I mean, there's a part of the answer I know, right? Why it is that way, but then there's also another part of it that I think folks get caught up in numbers, right? In certain numbers and not what the message is. I've always told content creators, if you got 50 people in your life, that's a lot of people, right? And if you can educate 50 people in one day, like talk to Jermaine, how many people do you have in your class, right? Probably don't have 50. And so I think we need to do a much, much better job in terms of what we talk about, and again, in terms of coordinating and promoting each other. I think we could do so much more. But anyway, Anisha, I know you want to come in. I don't want to. Here. Go ahead.
You're good. You're good. No, I was going to kind of push back a little bit on what James was saying, but the more that he spoke about it, I totally. But my initial reaction was, well, isn't it political now? Right? Like it's kind of being weaponized, unfortunately. I mean, I think in a perfect world, you want your Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, to be unbiased and not be subject to political whims. But unfortunately, here we are, right? But to James's point, excellent point, by the way, it was political, elections and things like that got us to where we are. And if we don't stay vigilant, we're going to continue to lose things. I mean, never in a million years did I think Roe v. Wade would have been overturned. So where was that overturned? The Supreme Court, right? You've got super conservative justices. And to James's point again, it could be a lot worse, but it's really, really bad right now. We have a Supreme Court. We have 9 justices who decided that it was okay to profile the highest court in the land. The highest court in the land decided that it was okay to profile people and gave ICE carte blanche to profile individuals in America. And again, here we are. Yes, elections have consequences. In a perfect world for me, I've listen, I'm a paralegal. I've sat in courtrooms and worked with attorneys and judges, for quite some time. But in a perfect world, you would hope that it would be an impartial bench. But unfortunately, where we are right now, it's not. And that's not to say that we have not had conservative justices before. But as I put in the chat, Smitty, with a lifetime appointment, it's going to take a long time to fix that. Like, it's going to take a lot to undo the undoing of Roe v. Wade. It's going to take a lot to undo, the profile case. Because again, when that highest court of the land sets these precedences, lower courts are following suit. There used to be a time when I was getting my degree, it was like, oh, everybody understood lower courts could do national injunctions. Okay, we can make an argument for or against that, but it was kind of a stopgap for a lot of the crazy stuff that was going on politically, and now even that's under fire, right? So, I don't know even what to say about that, but that's kind of what my initial response was about the whole idea of a lifetime appointment, because they're an extremely conservative court and we're going to be with them for a long time. And again, to James's point, when it's time for a vacancy, yeah, then it gets real political, as we saw with Merrick Garland at the end of, when they should have let Obama go ahead and seat another justice. But, Mitch McConnell got in the way and his little cronies. And again, here we are. And we're going to be here, by the way, for a really long time.
Let me real quick. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I want to say something from the panel, and then I'm gonna drop for today. But let me put a 1 in the chat if you're a black person or a person of color. I just want to see where we are in terms of the demographics. I have a message for both groups. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a black person or a person of color. I just want to see where we are, because I want to say something. Right. So, 1, immigration, right? This issue that we're talking about. Blackity black. Immigration is a black issue too. Immigration is a black issue too. We have to stop thinking that this is the one system that was created that had us in their hearts when all the other ones didn't. Right? Like, immigration is a black issue too. Number 1. Number 2, for people of color, non-black people of color, I do not understand how y'all trust these institutions so much when they tell you that they should not be trusted, from the standpoint of, in the same 2 years, race cannot be used, or ethnicity can't be used as a factor of college admissions, but it can be used as a factor to profile your ass and put you in an ICE detention facility. Like, they're literally telling you. And so I y'all too trusting, man. Y'all way too trusting. Whoever wants to jump in, go ahead. We got 1 or 2 more comments.
Smith, I just wanted to comment. I'm sorry, Nichelle, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say real quick, James asked an excellent question that in the chat. How many years, if we're not considering a lifetime appointment, would be acceptable for it not to be political? And I would love to hear what people think about that. We both said 30 years instead of an entire lifetime appointment.
Yeah, I agree. I think James made some great points on that. I think it can maybe cause some instability, but it's like a lifetime appointment is just, and it's different, Smitty, if we voted on it. Mm-hmm. We don't vote on that. We should have a right to vote who sets that, but we don't. And for people, we don't have this. Of course, like, we vote for the president and things like who appoints these judges, mm-hmm. But these people are lifetime seats and we don't have a say so on it. So, and that's what I kind of feel like they shouldn't be serving. So it has to be some type of cap, or was this term limit, age limit? It gotta be. And I think that, Esme, you talked about, I know we talked about like the Democrats, if they're like out of touch, they're willingly out of touch. But a lot of it's due to maybe like a lot of them are older, elderly, and grew up, their mind, they're stuck in one way. And it's one way only. The old school, that traditional style, that still belief in, the system, yes, made it right. Exactly.
No, I got you. I think the bigger, so I agree with everything you said. Going back to the point that I made to Jamal, though, is I think that the Democratic Party has just as big of a problem with misogyny and misogynoir as the Republican Party. And so, and that's why, look at the talent in the Democratic Party. And it's the same thing that black women and women of color face in the workplace as they're facing rising in the Democratic Party, right? Hidden, put in the background, told to shut up, told to be quiet, when they are far more talented than the men. Like, come on, you gonna tell me Jasmine Crockett isn't more talented than Hakeem Jeffries, right? You gonna tell me that like a Ayanna Presley or Summer Lee or Corey Bush isn't more talented than a Chuck Schumer? Really? Right? Like, is that what we're saying to each other? So, hey, the Republicans, at least as crazy as they are up until recently, would let Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she was the one that they felt like could do the most, they'd let her talk. Democrats tell you silently to shut the hell up.
Yeah. And Corey Bush is
Munchma made a great comment in the chat. They said Republicans think women are private property, but Democrats think women are public property.
Woo!
That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar.
That's bars right there.
That's a bar. Yeah, because look, it's one thing to, like, you talk about the Corey Bush, the AOC of the world, the Jamal, like, they are badasses. Like, but it's like they're getting treated by both parties. They're getting targeted by both parties, and it's from those older heads, from the Republican Party to the establishment Democrats who push back against their own people, and the most popular people too. Like you said, it's me the most popular. I wish for real, like, so they're facing both oppositions, especially the women, the black women, Jasmine Crockett, Corey Bush, Omar, she's a badass. Like they get up there, like, and to face those death threats and all these kind of things, and still not tone down that, and still remain her, and still be bold as she is, like. But yet they face the opposition from both. So that's also a real point. But like you said, Smitty, it ties into that party still has some work to do themselves. I think it was Caroline said, they gotta primary these people. You gotta primary them.
Primary the fuck out of them.
Got to. Anything out of primary. You get a primary, you get a primary, you get a primary. Like, primary.
I think Caroline.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, James can go ahead real quick because I think he was going to respond to that, and then I just want to read something as I close out my portion before I go.
Let's do this. Let's do two more comments. Let's do James and then Carolina. But again, right, this point around.
Thank you, Smitty, by the way. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no, you get fam.
I appreciate y'all, ladies. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate y'all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's why even on this app, when we have black men and other men of color interrupting and not letting black women and women of color, right, get out, their full comments. That's why it bothers me so much, because we should be the ones that see all of this nonsense with liberals and progressives and correct it. And so we just got to do a better job overall of that, even on this app, because you see it on this app all the time. Again, I'm nowhere near as talented as many of the women that come on my panel, and they say something very profound, and they get interrupted, and I literally just repeat, oh, she said, oh, thank you, Smitty. Fuck. I just said what they said. But so it's that's one thing for sure. I've seen it before I was on this app, but once you get on this app, you can never deny misogyny and misogynoir. Like, you can never deny it if you just pay attention for 5 minutes on this app. You can never say there isn't a problem, ever, if you just pay attention for 5 seconds on this app. Go ahead, brother. And then we'll go down to Carolina for last comment.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Smitty. I just want to remind everybody that in the last 12 years, there were 4 Supreme Court justices appointed. It's 9 people. Shortening, putting in term limits, none of that is going to matter if those people are being approved by a group of senators that don't care that people are wackos. Again, you have the same problem. We had 12 justices. I mean, in the last 12 years, we had 4 justices. They flipped the balance with those 4 justices. And so it is a reminder to us all that sometimes you have to outlive the political era of the moment. The other thing that I would remind us is that it takes forever to get a justice. And when you start talking about Congress, once again, the Senate, remember, all of those people in the judiciary has a lifetime appointment. So think about how people will just not appoint people, not approve them for the sake of being nasty and to wait till their turn. and then appoint all of the district court judges. The thing that has slowed down more than the Supreme Court, to a point that Nichelle made earlier, the Supreme Court has made some bad decisions, yes. The district courts haven't joined them. They have put in place restrictions. They have curtailed their ability to surveil when it comes to ICE. They have said that in certain jurisdictions that they cannot wear masks. We have to be careful what we ask for, because what we ask for is what has created the situation that we are in this moment with respect to this court. I think we have to be cognizant of that as we engage. And I'd push back a little on the position that we don't have any influence on who becomes a Supreme Court justice. And I think Jermaine said this. One, we elect a president. That president is our representative and the person that appoints a justice. But with the advice and consent of the Senate, and if we're not voting for our senators, if we are not turning up to vote to ensure that those people represent our interests, then we have a problem. And that means even people that are appointed from our side of the aisle. And I'm going to go a step further. I would remind everybody that the Supreme Court justice that Obama appointed that did not get approved is the same motherfucker that has left us at the place that we're at right now as well. Merrick Garland is the person that did not. I'd remind everybody that did not file in the district that he should have and brought the case to Florida. Let this crazy judge, Aileen Cannon, do all of the things that she did. I would remind everybody that the Supreme Court justice that Biden appointed is the same person that allowed this man to keep state secrets at Mar-a-Lago and slow-rolled the case against him. So just as we start to think about who we're electing to the positions that appoint and approve, we need to be more thoughtful about how we give our vote to people. And keep in mind that even though we don't like the person, that there are implications, and I will land my plane here. I'm going to say without any reservation, if you are one of the people that told folks not to vote for Kamala Harris, then you were okay screwing over black people, particularly black women, for a person that you know has nobody's best interest that's black or brown in this country, and performative politics does nothing. So everything that's happening right now, you've had a hand in it, and I want you to know that you and I are never going to be in solidarity if you cannot have the grace and comprehension to recognize that a political candidate might not be perfect, but there is something about being in solidarity and community that doesn't include emotional extortion. And you created the circumstances that exist right now that have people wanting to throw up on a daily basis.
God, jeez. Woo. Goodness. You didn't have to land that plane, bro. You could have kept going with that one, bro. We could have had a couple of go-arounds and a misdirection and a... Woo. I mean, I tell you, man, to your point, and then Catalina, you got the final comment. I think that was definitely the worst, but I think what also bugged me, tell me if y'all felt this in the chat too, it was like the idea that for certain folks, not everybody, but certain folks that were pushing that not voting for Kamala Harris were trying to educate us and trying to tell us as black people and people of color, the methodology of voting and how we, like, it was very condescending how it was done as well. I don't know if y'all picked that up, but it was also very condescending. And that to me was also a problem as well. Go ahead, Carolina, final comment.
Carolina, if I may, just what real quick, let me check something. Slow deep dive, and I never talk about the comments, but thank you for your comment today. Let me tell you something, and I want you to hear me with no uncertainty. You have endorsed G-Side through a person who is double tapping people that are at sea shipwrecked without a trial. You voted for a person that closed USAID, that took food away from the mouths of people that are starving. You supported G-Side by engaging in performative politics that led to people in several continents not having access to HIV/AIDS antiretroviral drugs. You support a G-side by engaging in performative politics that have people being drugged from their homes and thrown out of this country. You have engaged in the sort of wildly emotionally extortive behavior that has led us to this point. So if you think that you're going to emotionally extort me, you've got the wrong person on the panel, my friend. I'd invite you to stand in the nasty reflection of your truth and recognize that there are more than one set of people that are being harmed in this season. And I have a heart for all of them. And you will never, as I close, lecture me on genocide as a Sudanese person, as a person with a Sudanese father. So you can go to hell.
I missed that. I didn't know what happened. Okay. All right. Let me
Jamal.
go to
Okay. So real quick, I'm going to read something, but real quick to his point, I want to say this as somebody who is I'm an avowed socialist. I'm an indigenous socialist. Let's not forget that Europeans stole the concept of socialism from us as indigenous people here in the Americas as well as in Africa. And so I want people to remember that. I did not support the ideas of either candidate. But if you were actively telling people to sit out that election and did not vote for Kamala, regardless of the fact that we don't see eye to eye on every single one of her policies or what she has stood for in the past, if you were one of those people, stop calling yourself a fucking leftist. What you are armchair activists. You don't do shit to improve the lives of people in your community, and you actively made their lives worse by choosing to do that, by allowing this man to come to power. I do want to say that. So, because also, like, the older we get as leftists, we also are realists, and we understand the importance of mitigating harm, and we understand the reality that we live in a two-party fucking system, y'all. Y'all are not going to overhaul that overnight. Okay. So, what I want to read for everyone real quick, and this may seem off topic for some people, but anybody who's been in both of Smitty's lives today will understand why I'm reading this, because the topic came up of people who were literally endorsing fascism in your first live. And I want to explain how this intrinsically ties to fascism. What I'm going to do right now is read off the 16 tenets of fascism to close this out. I'm not going to give you an example of each one. Because I think that we are all very intelligent individuals, most of us anyway, and that you can come up with an example of how we have officially checked off every single tenet of fascism. I'm going to type this in the chat. This is where you can locate this list. It's called Characteristics and Appeal of Fascism by Kean University. Number 1. Powerful, often exclusionary populist nationalism centered on a cult of a redemptive, infallible leader who never admits mistakes. Number 2, political power derived from questioning reality, endorsing myth and rage, and promoting lies. Number 3, fixation with perceived national decline, humiliation, or victimhood. Number 4, white replacement theory used to show that democratic ideals of freedom and equality are a threat. Oppose any initiatives or institutions that are racially, ethnically, or religiously harmonious. 5, disdain for human rights while seeking purity and cleansing for those they define as part of the nation. 6, identification of enemies or scapegoats as a unifying cause. Imprison and or unalive opposition and minority group leaders. 7, supremacy of the military and embrace of paramilitarism in an uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites. Fascists arm people and justify and glorify violence as redemptive. 8, rampant sexism. 9, control of mass media and undermining truth. 10, obsession with national security, crime and punishment, and fostering a sense of a nation under attack. 11, religion and government are intertwined. 12, corporate power is protected and labor power is suppressed. 13, disdain for intellectuals and the arts not aligned with the fascist narrative. 14, rampant cronyism and corruption. Loyalty to the leader is paramount and often more important than competence. I want you to look at the entire Trump administration when we talk about that one. 15, fraudulent elections and creation of a one-party state, redistricting. And finally, 16, often seeking to expand territory through armed conflict, coughs, in Venezuela and the Caribbean. And I just wanted to end on that, because if you do not understand how every single one of those tenets have been checked off under this administration, some even before that, I will give you that, then you really need to educate yourselves. Because when we talk about the threat of fascism, this is not fear mongering. We are officially here. And you better be doing everything you fucking can in 2026 to make sure that we actually have elections and that we get the right people in power to turn this fucking country around.
Woo. All right, y'all. Well, again, this started out as a little bit of a debate, and it turned into I think, a very, very interesting political discussion. I'm just going to say this, a couple quick things. And I'm reading some of the comments as they come through. Number one, I hope you're following the 4 content creators on my right. I know Swan hosts lives all the time. I know Carolina is a panelist in some of the other lives. I know her, she's doing stuff in there. Jamal, listen, you ever come to one of his lives, watch out. Just don't go up in there and preach. But besides that, you're going to have a good time. It's all good, Saji. It's all good. But the reason I say that is that, the way that I believe, y'all, is we have to amplify content creators that have talent, that care, right? I can tell you the 4 of these people here, all four of them have done things for people beyond TikTok. All 4, I can say that. I can say that about these 4. And these are 4 people I don't play about, and they don't play about me. And I can tell you, we just got to support each other more. I know there was a discussion about certain content creators and how popular they are versus others. But in reality, again, if we all tell one person or 2 people, hey, you know what? Smitty hosts great lives. Jamal hosts great lives. Swan, Nichelle, Carolina, some of the other people that you've seen. We can grow organically, right? And it may not even be on this app. We'll see what happens. But we have so much power. We just got to tap into it, y'all. And as content creators, we got to stop being so damn competitive with each other. So damn, I don't even know what the word is, but we got to stop trying to compete so much and just collaborate a lot more. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox, y'all. But I appreciate all of you guys. Love all of you guys. Much love. Y'all stay safe. I'm thinking about, real quick, I've never done this before. Okay, Jamal's going live, so go follow James and go to his live. I've never done a live on the Dominican Republic and Haiti. I'm thinking about doing that. It's so nuanced, but it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, to understand and to learn more. And I think that could be very impactful. And two, put a 1 in the chat if you've ever been to or attended a Liddy Smitty. Put a 1 in the chat if you have. I just want to see. All right, we got 1. We got a few. We got a couple. There might be a Liddy Smitty. There might be. All right. Yeah, damn, that bathtub will never ever. Hey, we got the bathtub and we got the peacoat right here. Boy, that'll never ever get. Yeah. Anyway, much love, y'all. Y'all take care. Stay safe, and y'all might see me tonight. And go to this brother's live right here. Take care. This brother's live right here. Take care.
The tree lighting starts right now. I'm excited. What's your favorite Six Flags holiday snack? We just got here, so we don't really know too much, but I love anything with s'mores, and I know for a fact anything with s'mores is gonna be good. So it might be that. Tilo, thank you for sharing, Tilo. What happened?
Tilo is in there.
Tilo. Can I do anything but X2? You are crazy. Thank you, T. Have a good day at work, T. right, if you're just joining us, we got 2 more minutes until the tree light starts. Yeah, I'm excited for this. We got 2 more, you guys. 2 more minutes. 1 more minute. 1 more minute, you guys. Yeah, we can. You want to go over there? Let's go. Let's go. You want to go there, right here? Where do you want to go? Go right here. Make sure you're in front. Like this?
I need somebody here.
1 minute, you guys. 1 minute. I'm excited to see this. You want me to start the segment here? You want me to start the segment here? All right, you guys, we are at Six Flags at Holidays in the Park.